Several prominent Democrats are threatening to quit the party. You got James Carville, who's one of the most well-known Democrat strategists. He said, if Hassan Piker becomes a major force, I'm out. So my only question is, when did you leave? Because Hassan already is a major force. You've got in Michigan this upset from a Democratic socialist type. I know he's denying being a socialist. They're expecting him to win and crush the establishment, and this is a guy backed by Hassan Piker. You got Bill Maher saying he's basically out. These are commies. You've got Manchin and even other prominent Democrats outright saying I would never vote for these people. And then Fetterman was like, I can't be in a party with these people because they hate Israel. And I was like, really, dude? They want to give kids sex changes and you didn't care until they got mad about Israel? Priorities. But I'll take it. A lot of conservatives are ragging on these people, being like, they've been propping up communists the whole time. And my attitude is, dude, when they start agreeing with you and pushing people to your side and you're winning, don't snatch defeat from the jaws of victor. I mean, shut up. Say, hey, yeah, okay. And then get as many votes as you can because they're not in control of the Trump administration, but they're going to help the Republicans win and shut those things down. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, we got a bunch of crazy stories, of course. We had that wild story about the shooting outside the In-N-Out and the heroic man who was armed who saved the day. And there's this prominent YouTuber who is now advocating because of it, we should ban guns. But, of course, they're lying. Assault rifles have been production banned since 1986. They're difficult to get. And these people are acting like assault rifles are used in shootings. For the most part, they're not. It's handguns. But again, they're lying. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, you had the weekend to watch Spider-Man. Now the biggest opening film ever. Just about $390 million for Spider-Man. And this is good news. Outside of the fact that I love Spider-Man, and we're going to talk about the film and some spoilers, I want to just stress it's showing a cultural cohesion again. You know, we had this period over 7 or so years where nobody was watching the same films, listening to the same music. Woke was ascendant. We've crushed it. Marvel has shut down all, and this is actually kind of a bad thing in my opinion, but Marvel's basically shut down all of their black superheroes. And I'm not actually a big fan of that, but it does show they don't care about DEI or the race stuff anymore. They're basically saying, give us the white guys who make money. And that says something. For better or for worse, we'll talk about that. Before we do, my friends, we got a great sponsor for you. It is Tax Network USA. Head over to Tax Network, tnusa.com/Tim. You guys owe back taxes or have unfiled returns? Have you filed every year, but you still keep owing? Did you retire and suddenly get hit with a tax bill you didn't expect? However your tax issue started, the outcome is the same. Your balance is not going down. Penalties are growing. Interest compounds. And many of you are about to owe again for the upcoming tax year with no plan. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS is not waiting. They're enforcing collections through wage garnishments, bank levies, property seizures. They can even file for you without your consent. This is where Tax Network USA comes in. They got over 15 years into business. There hasn't been a case they haven't seen or resolved. They specialize in tax controversies and helps taxpayers nationwide get back on track by resolving back taxes and unfiled returns once and for all. Whether it's $1,000 you owe or $10 million, their team has resolved over $1 billion in debt, and they can do the same for you. But you got to call now. They're offering a free investigation call with the IRS. After that, they'll put a case plan in place for you to resolve your problem, get you back on track. It's about taking your legal rights to gain control before they set the terms for you. So don't wait. Call 866-686-1535. That's 866-686-1535. Don't forget to also pick up some delicious Cast Brew coffee at castbrew.com. And don't forget to go to the Cast Brew physical store in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Leave us a good review on Google when you do. You're going to love it. They got sandwiches, ice cream, coffees, all the good stuff. They got merchandise. And shout out to Mamba Collectibles upstairs if you want to play some Magic the Gathering or buy some sports cards. They got everything. And you can actually it's not just the internet anymore. It was the internet for a while. You could only buy our coffee online. Now it's available at the Casper location in Martinsburg. Check it out. Don't forget to also smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you have ever met. Share it right now on X, Facebook, whatever you got. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Jon Root.
What's up, brother? Great to have you.
Who are you? What do you do?
I work for Outkick. I'm a writer and a content creator with them, so I cover sports and culture. I spent some time at Turning Point USA as well. I was there for about 3 years, and I worked in mainstream sports media, but now I get to work for the good guys. So unfortunately, there's a lot of WNBA talk for me right now, so I'll cover it and watch it so you don't have to.
Yeah, that's the other big story we're talking about with the WNBA is basically full on board with males playing, and it's causing a bit of controversy. Clay Travis has spoken up, but we'll definitely get into all that stuff too. Yep. It should be fun. Considering it's a slow news day, sports might be a welcome distraction, or actually, sports might be the bigger story. We got the boys hanging out.
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? John, it's great to have you in studio, dude.
Thanks.
Love your work. You're doing great work at Outkick. They're ballers over there. We love all those guys. Phil,
what's going on, Tate Brown?
Not much, man. Just hanging out.
We were just talking before the show about how much me and Tate both love sports. So
I know. The problem is I like the subversive ones, like
cricket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned how to play cricket in college. That was
I knew it.
Yeah. Well, because I had some roommates from Trinidad. They were super into cricket, so I was just like, I'll learn.
Don't cricket games take like 3 days?
Yeah, it takes like 3 days, and it's like the scores like completely like you're like doing math problems during the game. And even the people at the game are bored. Like they're playing checkers in the crowd. They'll panda people. They're doing like whatever except watching cricket.
Anything to
like
not watch the game.
It's just an excuse to just like hang out.
It's passive viewing, just like a lot of these streaming shows. Where it's
actually,
I have to pay?
I got to be honest, I actually like that a lot.
They were like barbecuing. Like it looked like fun.
No, but that's like they got the horse races coming up, the Charlestown Classic, so it's like this big event with like $1 million purse and like. Man, watching the horse race is so much fun, and they set up a restaurant.
Yeah,
I'm actually a fan of that. You're describing a sport for me where you get to hang out with your friends.
Yeah,
the sport's happening in the background while you're having a good time, and you know.
I didn't say one negative thing. I love it. I think
okay, that sounds fun. Okay, I'm a cricket fan now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Carter's here.
Let's get into it. Yeah, Carter here, and let's talk about stuff.
All right, here we go. We got this from Bakersfield Now, the preeminent source. James Carville says he will leave the Democratic Party if Hassan Piker becomes a major force. We then got this from Bill Maher. I absolutely love this clip. I'm not going to play the full thing for you, but I just love this intro.
And finally, new rule, Donald Trump has told 1 trillion lies, but when he says the Democratic Socialists of America are actually communist, that's not one of them.
Wow.
And it's not hard to prove it, just by quoting the DSA and their candidates. It gives me no pleasure to have to do this. I'd much rather keep going the good vibes from my summer vacation. I had an awesome one, by the way. I totally got a girlfriend at Bible camp. Joe, and I told him that if the Democratic Party keeps going in the direction of the DSA, my vote was in play. And
Bill Maher said he would vote for Sarah Palin before he'd vote for any of these socialists. And then you get this from Mediaite. CNN Data Guru predicts Abdul El Sayed set to deliver the biggest blow yet to the Democratic establishment. Now, this guy said he's not a socialist, but his policies are all aligned with the DSA anyway.
I don't believe him.
Yeah, because you're not going to... He knows. He sees what Bill Maher is saying. And he knows, like, okay, let's tone down the socialist thing. But this is what they do. They lie.
Yeah.
They lie to get in. And we'll get into this in a second. Mamdani's now saying you got to get an ID to buy groceries at the government grocery stores.
Hilarious.
You know where this goes. We got a whole segment on this one, but I'm just going to stress the reason why people won't vote for these people. Socialist grocery store causes local grocery stores to go out of business because they can't compete. Then you're waiting in line. There's food shortages, and you need an ID to buy food. Then when there's a shortage, they're going to say, okay, only 1 milk per customer per week. Then when you scan your ID card, they say, you already bought a milk yesterday. You can't buy one now. And that's how you get rationing. I'm not playing games. Now, what I will say is this. The question is Hassan Piker actually the future of the Democratic Party? And I'm going to say, sort of. The boomers, you're done. Sorry, boomers, we love you, but the boomers have hit the mortality shelf. I'm a millennial. I'm 40, okay? Retirement is just around I'm closer to retirement than I am to my own childhood. Like, I'm over the hill, baby. Like, we're getting in that direction. The boomers, Phil is making noises.
Old.
So no disrespect to boomers, but the oldest boomers are now 80, 81 years old. And this means... this is the mortality shelf where a generation is older than life expectancy. You see a rapid decline. Why? Well, because they're dying. I'm not trying to be morbid, but this is what happens. Boomer voting power is going to rapidly decline over the next few elections. But Gen Alpha is not big enough. Gen Alpha is about 1 or 2 cycles away from voting. I think they're 15 years old right now, 14, 15. So we're looking at probably 2030 is when we're going to see them voting. 2032, a little bit more prominent, but still younger voters, not so prominent. But more importantly, at half the size of Gen Z millennials, they do not hold weight. So Hassan may be ascendant in a small faction of the left wing of the Democratic Party, but what's going to happen is you're going to see a split. And you're going to have the moderate liberal types like David Pakman having to contend with the Hassan Pikers. You're going to have Destiny, who and Hassan Piker do not get along, and Ethan Klein and them. They fight each other. So I don't see a Democratic establishment dominated by Hassan Piker. I see multiple left factions in a shattered Democratic Party.
Yeah, we have this weird situation where you have these guys like Ezra Klein who are like policy wonks and put out pages and pages of what they would like to see from policy from the Democrat Party. The problem is they never get any of that. They get, for lack of a better term, gay race communism, and they just plug their nose and vote for the Democrat Party. So it's actually kind of irrelevant what these people think, because if they're not willing to quite literally just vote for the Republican Party, who cares? Because Hassan Piker, even if he himself won't be this influential figure, his ilk will absolutely be dominating the Democrat Party for years to come, because like you said, boomers are dying off. That's the last voting cohort in the Democrat Party that is overwhelmingly white. So you have a large non-white majority voting bloc now in the United States for the Democrats, as in the majority of their constituents will be non-white. So they don't this whole idea that DEI, identity politics is on the way out, maybe for the Republicans, but certainly not for the Democrat Party. They're going to double down. If you think Obama was bad, that's going to look like nothing compared to this. Haley Stevens right now is the referendum, right? Because Haley Stevens is kind of more old school, pro-Israel, pro-markets, etc. She'll throw some lip service to leftist causes here and there, but by and large, that is kind of the referendum of which way is the Democrat Party going? Because Michigan's a good bellwether for how the Democrats ought to vote nationwide.
I don't disagree with any of your idea here, but the thing that I think that people need to be aware of is the DSA intentionally tells people to lie about the policies. Right? They know that it's still generally unpopular to call yourself a socialist or a communist in the United States. They have specifically said, don't tell people that you're actually looking to destroy capitalism. They'll tell you, you want to sound closer to the center left than you do want to sound like a radical when you're dealing with regular voters. I don't believe Saeed for 1 second that he's not at least a socialist. And another way you can see that they actually do this is they tell people, they'll say things like, the Nordic model. The Nordic model is a capitalist society.
It hasn't existed in 30 years.
What?
Socialism and Scandinavia.
Yeah, they've all got markets. They've all got private property. Yes, there are generous social safety nets, there are generous benefits, and they pay over half of their money into taxes, except for Norway, because they're sitting on tons and tons and tons of natural gas. But otherwise, they have market economies so much that I think the Danish prime minister came out and said, hey, we're not a socialist country. We're a capitalist country. You still have reasonably secure property rights. And the policies that the DSA want, when they're actually articulating the platform, they were talking about expropriating major corporations. And major corporations means Amazon. They're going to go after the banking industry, which means that you won't be able to get a loan to start a business. People get down on the banking industry, and I get it, because, you look at stuff on the internet and the irresponsibility of just banking in general, the fact that anytime you use a credit card, you're actually creating money and it goes towards the overall debt and stuff. I understand all that. But the function that markets for money, the function that those perform, they're integral for being able to start businesses, being able to expand the economy. And that's something that everybody wants to be able to do. You don't want to have a fixed pie that is always the same, that everybody's trying to take from. You want to be able to grow the pie. You want the economy to continue growing. And so the things that the DSA are talking about when it comes to, again, expropriating property or nationalizing industry, that is going to destroy the whole U.S. economy. And these people think that that's a good thing because they want to They want to reimagine the United States in totality. They want to get rid of the presidency. They want to get rid of the Senate. The only thing in the Constitution that you can't get rid of, the Senate. Like there's Article 5 says you can't get rid of the Senate, and they want to get rid of the Senate. You can't even amend the Constitution. You have to get rid of the whole Constitution if you want to get rid of the Senate. But there's all these things that they talk about doing, and they'll do them if they get the power. I mean, Democrats are going to get rid of the filibuster if they win, enough seats to do it. They're going to.
Yes to all of those things, but I'm actually really happy with this stuff. With so in Colorado and in New York, the Democratic Socialists win, but in Illinois they didn't. The more they fight, the more they break. I do agree that if the Democrats win the midterms and the presidency, they're going to go nuts. They're going to pack the court. I actually don't know how possible it is at this point because the Democratic Party is becoming two different political parties.
I think my concern isn't so much about whether it's possible now. It's about what happens, like as you outlined earlier, when the boomers die off, right? When there's not a time. I understand that Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they're smaller generations, but if the motivated people are the ones that are actually out there being activists and they're out there voting reliably. If there's a strong push for socialism, again, Gen Z and stuff, they don't have the same kind of allergy to the term socialism.
I saw a video from Ariel Scarcella, who was just recently on the show. She was asking college students about why the Democrats lost. And it was interesting to see at a university, some of these kids were like, well, like the Democrats were, just like basically it wasn't, I would say, aligned with like hard conservatism, like it wasn't like something you hear Jack Posobiec say, but it was very much anti-woke. It was like they tried too hard to do the activist stuff, and so people didn't like it. I think young people are largely seeing this, and I'm interested to see how the Democratic Party manages to survive this split, because when I look at young, look, there are certain liberals who I'm not going to call anybody out. Actually, no, let's do it. We got like the Krasensteins, we got Pac-Man, right? They are not lining up with Hassan Piker. In fact, many of them are arguing against Hassan. You're not going to have a unified party with two factions like that. The Republican Party is begging Trump. Trump's play, this is the big story we got from Axios. We'll pull up in a second. Actually, let's pull it up right now. I'll just wrap it up by saying Trump's play is that he's the kingmaker after this, whether he's president or not. So let's jump to the story from Axios. Trump's final act begins. And they basically line it out like this. Democrats can't win enough political power, even if they do win the midterms, to affect Trump because it would be a thin majority if it was. Trump's critics are retiring or moving into other state level positions. So Trump's administration is basically saying, look, if we lose the midterms, it'll be very similar to how it already is. And Trump's got a plan for it. If he wins, it'll be great. We'll ram things through. Moving forward, Trump's going to be the kingmaker. Whether he's president or not, everybody needs Trump's endorsement. Who do the Democrats have? They're split in two. The oldest political party in the world, how do they survive?
Well, I think the DSA is their MAGA insofar as like when MAGA first came on the scene, ton of pushback. You had to shake out the old guard who was like, oh, I'll never vote for Trump, the never Trumpers, right? And a lot of them ended up, just buggering off, or they got CNN gigs, or they just became Democrats. So I think the Democrat Party is going through their phase of like, shedding the old guard, shedding the old consensus. I think what you're seeing now is like this endpoint of Obama style, like liberalism. And a lot of those people now who, guys like Bill Maher, a lot of these other Democrats that we're seeing, Jim Carville, obviously, who were like huge cheerleaders for the Obama administration, are now like, oh, I don't know about this DSA stuff. That's the exact same thing that happened with the Republican Party when MAGA first came along. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, while it might be ugly for a few years, I think the DSA will ultimately come out decisive winners in that exchange. And I think whoever wants to keep in power in the Democrat Party will have to play ball with the DSA. As far as young people go, I mean, I think it's a bit of a LARP when people are like, oh, the reason why young people are turning on Trump is because they're actually to the right of him. And I'm like, dude, there's no polling that reflects that at all. Like, I wish that was, like, trust me, I wish that was the case as a 25-year-old who would like to see that happen. But it's just not reflected. I mean, dude, something like 80% of Zoomers are pro-choice. Like, I'm sorry, this is not your super base trad generation. It's like, are they slowing down on trends we saw among millennials? Yeah, that's true. But they're not even more religious than millennials, let alone more conservative. It's dude, it is not what you think is going to happen. You cannot depend on like a based revolution.
Yeah, but I think with the left losing cultural institutions, that this is going to change. The question of what does it mean to be pro-choice, I think that's the issue with polling. First of all, I don't believe it outright. You go to someone and you ask them something like, you ask them the question to get the answer that you want so you can frame it the way you want. You'd say something like, do you think that if a woman was suffering a medical issue, she should be allowed to get an abortion, right? And they go, yes, I don't know, pro-choice. And then they mark it down, right? So
yeah.
But also say this, I think a lot of these people don't understand the arguments. Like when you tell them that Colorado legalized abortion at the point of birth, they go, I don't believe it for a second. And then once they find out, they go, I'm not for that.
Yeah, well, I think Zoomers surprisingly are a bit more pragmatic than I think people would give them credit for when it comes to policy. But insofar as like, yeah, they just have this kind of baked in like liberalism that you can't really do much about. And I just think it's a bit of a LARP when people are like, oh, like when the boomers die off, then we'll get our like super based right wing revolution. I'm like,
no, the opposite.
It's like the opposite, actually. Like when the boomers die off, you better hope that like somehow 30 to 40% more Zoomers just like decide to vote Republican.
I think without the boomers, I think the boomers are the last stable generation. I'm not saying everything the boomer generation did was good. There's a lot of bad things. I think the boomers were largely, I don't think they planned well for the collective future.
Yeah.
I think boomers saw prosperity, and it's the fourth turning at Strauss-out generational theory. However, they still do have this. I like to reference Star Trek: The Next Generation because I'm a fan, but I do think it does represent the boomer dream of the future, where, communists think Star Trek is communist because they have like replicators, but they have credits, they have money. But if you take a look at that show where you have like the noble military captain who's like, no, we don't harm innocent civilizations. It's like that was their dream of the future.
Yeah.
But they didn't actually build it. But they still try to vote for those ideals. They see politicians that try to stand up and have decorum and say, we must protect. The DSA is voting for people who are like, I'm lying and I know it, and let's just burn it down. So when the boomers leave, you're going to get the Joker.
Yeah,
it's going to be a bunch of jokers voting.
Boomers like statesmanship. That's like because they grew up with Reagan. So it's like obviously like, Reagan, even if you're critical of him, is like you had to concede he's like one of the best politicians of all time as far as like how he presented. So boomers grew up with that. They grew up with this thing where you like learned in school where it's like, oh, the reason Nixon lost to JFK was because like he was sweaty on the debate. And it's like, so they just have like all these like different things that are just not true they grew up with. But yeah, I think boomers, this is the thing where people are like, oh, I can't wait for the boomers to die off. And then like the Republican Party will get super based. I'm like, yes, among Zoomer right-wingers, they are more right-wing. That is true. But like boomers, they're just more of them are right-wing. As in,
there's just more of them.
There's more of them, but also a higher proportion of boomers are right-wing versus Zoomers, where it's a smaller proportion, even if they're more authentically right-wing. Well, it doesn't matter if you can't win an election.
Yeah.
So
the one of the things that the young people are facing now is the fact that they don't have a buy-in to quote unquote the American dream, right? You can't buy a house, they can't start a business, or they feel like they can't start a business. They don't like the idea of owning property is as alien to them as the idea of like, being on the moon.
Well, that seems interesting what you guys have been bringing up, even like young people with entrepreneurship. It seems like that's on the rise, but you're talking about like, well, are they actually going to be able to make some sort of a difference because of how many they are, how interested they are in politics, and obviously the ideological game. It seems like the left is losing consistently, but you have that. It seems like the opportunities for entrepreneurship are there, but at the same time, like you're saying, the American dream and entrepreneurship, have a reason
to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like if you and nowadays there's so many things that are working against young people trying to go and do stuff, trying to make something of themselves.
And then the other half of them, they want just the government to do stuff for them. So that I feel like that's the interesting dichotomy.
I think it's more than half, but
yeah,
it's kind of my point.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I totally agree. There are so many people that are like, because on the left you got people that are like, oh, we should have a bunch of government programs for basically the marginalized community, and the people on the right are like, well, actually, we should have government programs for Americans. So not, maybe they probably wouldn't want. They might even exclude, second generation immigrants as well as first generation.
But that's going to be an ever growing thing too. The marginalized communities could be like the LGBTQ community that you've had so many numbers and letters to that at some point it's pretty much everybody.
Yeah, that's because the left wants to be the left wants to make it so that way everyone can join their group. But you're still going to be, look, if you're a white guy and you say, look, I'm Two-Spirit, they're going to be like, well, you're still a white guy, so screw you. You're still at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it's not helpful when you
listen, Two-Spirit is is the binary propaganda. Heteronormative BS. 2 spirit. No, we're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can be any. You could be infinity spirit.
I got 7 dimensions of sexuality in me.
7.
It's retarded.
Yeah, I think like it really epitomizes the disconnect between older generations and Zoomers. Is that like it seems like older generations expend much more time on culture war issues than Zoomers actually do. Where I think the good majority of Zoomers are just fairly nihilistic. And the interesting thing is, I would push back on the idea that like the left has lost cultural institutions, but they've definitely lost the rhetorical battle. So something that's interesting that you'll see is even among like full-blown trans communities among Zoomers, they will be using language that you would have seen on like 4chan like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think like what's interesting,
Like maxing.
they'll say like total chud death, and it's like that's like our
4chan won, bro.
Yeah. So I think like that's kind of an interesting to see is okay, they haven't really lost the cultural war at all. Actually, I think declaring woke is dead is like way too premature.
Yeah, it's not.
But as far as like rhetoric goes, it's actually kind of fascinating that even in like far left circles, they'll say like retard and stuff like that like all the time. So it's just
you dropped the volume on read.
I was circling through the YouTube terms of service or whatever, and I was like, I don't think
retard's good. Retard's good.
okay, good. Like
Look, they let it go.
It's French exit door.
But I get what you're saying. But I mean, I'm looking at a video that someone retweeted of Francesca Hong describes having a half-white son as being in proximity to whiteness. Like woke isn't
what?
going in proximity.
He's literally
to
white.
I mean,
proximity.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing.
Wait,
woke isn't going anywhere.
She banged a white guy.
Allegedly.
Ooh.
Shame on you.
Admitting it if she has a kid.
Oh, shame on you. But yeah, I mean, look, like the woke isn't going anywhere. It's not like there will be a resurgence of that kind of stuff. There will be attempts to cancel people in the future. It's not going to stop until. Well, I mean,
do you think it has a chance to be defeated though? Like, I mean, I know we're
going
gonna
to
get
flow.
Like we're gonna get into it later. I know I don't want to get ahead of things, but I mean, I even think of the cultural driver of Riley Gaines and Will Thomas on the same podium. I see now with the Sophie Cunningham situation where it's like, okay, vast majority of Americans think that this whole discussion is stupid. Like the idea,
honestly, and a waste of time.
Yeah, and a total waste of time. So it's like, okay, like at some point, yeah, there's some like ideological things that are gonna still keep going.
It depends. Look, if you're gonna say, look, men cannot become women and women cannot become men, you'll probably never lose a job for that again, or at least not anytime soon.
Well, and I think the culture war topics are just burnt out. I mean, people hear that and they're like, "Dude, gas is like $4."
No, but if you go on a racist triad about something, you might lose your job for that.
Sometimes, yeah, but the culture's definitely changed from 5 to 6 years ago. Where like if Shiloh Hendrix did that 6 years ago, she'd probably like get shot.
Guys,
versus now she's getting $1 million bucks.
Yeah. We got to talk about Spider-Man, and I'm not joking. I need to stress this to you guys, okay? There's 2 big stories. Marvel got rid of all their black... Check this out. This is from Black Superheroes subreddit. Marvel has a thing against its black heroes. It's actually big news, and a lot of the woke people are really pissed off. Marvel canceled Blade, canceled Wonder Man. Monica, who's also known as Photon, nowhere in Marvel. She's not in the Doomsday. Like, where is she? She's gone. She's like Black Miss Marvel, like Captain Marvel. Ironheart, gone. Armor Wars canceled, and Sam Wilson as Captain America, the Black Captain America, also just sidelined and gone. And Spider-Man just cracked almost $1 billion. $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So woke is broke, and Marvel knows it.
Yeah, I think it's just like being realistic about like how identity works, right? Where we've had these conversations in the show of like, okay, when a Japanese person is thinking of an American, what are they thinking of? Like physically, but they're thinking of someone like Peter Parker. You know, whether you like it or not, no matter what color you are, that's just something you have to kind of reckon with. It's just a reality. So again, when Spider-Man is like marketing these movies, and they're like, even though the average person from Queens looks nothing like Peter Parker anymore, when you're thinking of like a comic book kid from Queens, you think of the Ramones, etc. You think of Peter Parker. You can't be like uncanny with your presentation, right? Like, it has to be consistent.
I half agree, but I don't think that's what's at play. I think the issue is DEI and woke stuff is a political philosophy that is incongruous with human nature.
There's no message being preached in this movie. You go to the movie and you have a great...
But it's not just that.
You have a great time.
Let me show you these movies. Blade, not a hero's journey. Blade's a great character, but as a standalone film, we did get the Blade trilogy back in the day. Those were good. And so I actually think they could have made Blade work, but Blade, not a hero's journey.
Wonder Man killed it.
Wonder Man was not a hero's journey. Monica, not a hero's journey. She was in WandaVision and got her powers by just randomly walking through Wanda's magic, I guess. Ironheart was not a hero's journey. Derivative of Iron Man. Armor Wars, not a hero's journey. As much as we love War Machine, it's derivative of Iron Man. Cap 4, this is Falcon.
Yeah.
Who just gets handed a title, not a hero's journey. Peter Parker's Spider-Man is a hero's journey every time.
Well, and what I'm trying to get at is like the reason why Peter Parker can be a hero's journey is because he's presented as like an everyman. He's presented as a very typical, ordinary person. And in the United States, even today, that is still just going to be like a dorky white kid. Like that's just the reality of the situation. So again, you know, to no fault of anyone's own, if they were to deviate from that character when designing a hero's journey to be told to the majority of Americans for it to resonate with them, if they made them black or if they made them Hispanic or made them Asian, that would be an aspect to their character that would deviate from the everyman story. That would add another extra element to it, etc. So, like, again, it's the reason why it isn't political. Part of the way you get that done is by presenting him as an everyman. And like, again, for the vast majority of Americans, even people of different colors, they're going to see a normal white person as like an everyman.
He's gone through legitimate loss in the last movie leading into this. And then it's a genuine, just good time watching this movie. I haven't had that much fun watching a movie in a theater in a long time. And I think in general, like, people resonate with Spider-Man now because he's not just like Iron Boy. You know, he's not Iron Man Jr. You know, he has to actually like build himself up, go through legitimate interpersonal conflict. He goes through loneliness.
Here's the thing: everything was derivative of Iron Man, but Spider-Man, when they introduced him with Homecoming, he was in Civil War, but when they started his own movie with Homecoming, No Way Home, and Far From Home, or Far From Home, then No Way Home, it was derivative of Iron Man in the first two, I'd say, and Infinity War, but it was still part of his hero's journey. Yep. The suit is just aided by magic. The thing about Captain Marvel is she always had the power. It was the man holding her down. That's not a hero's journey.
Look at all those that you put up there. I mean, even Ironheart is probably like one of the biggest things. Like, we have to have Tony Stark and Iron Man build up this show and this individual that hasn't worked for anything. And they also preach the message of like, basically, I'm a part of a marginalized community. I'm a victim kind of thing. Like, people
Nobody
don't resonate
wanted to watch it.
No one cares.
Nobody wanted to see it. Supergirl bombed. Guys, I tried watching Supergirl. I did. Because I'm like, look, I'm not going to go to the theaters for it, but if a movie, like, I watched Disclosure Day, that movie sucked.
It was
miserably bad. And it's like no story. It was just nothing. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch Supergirl. So I bought it on Amazon and I pressed play. And about 10 minutes, I turned it off. Because what's the story? Bro, it's Captain Marvel. It's degenerate, super-powered woman who just wants to F off and be a degenerate and doesn't want to do hard work. And I'm like, that's cringe the whole way through. I don't want to watch it. And it was like girl punk intro song and then an annoying nails in a chalkboard villain. And I was like, can I get a refund on this? And they said, no, I couldn't get a refund on it. So I was a little bummed about it.
Just compare that with the first 5-10 minutes you had watching Spider-Man. Like,
it was amazing.
Anybody that's seen that movie, they're like, I'm in. Like, I'm genuinely interested in what's going on here.
And here's the other thing, too. So CNN, this article's old. It's from yesterday. Second highest. Actually, Spider-Man is now the highest global debut for any film. And here's why this is a good thing. It's not about Spider-Man. This is not a Spider-Man review clip. We'll do a Spider-Man review in a second. This is about cultural cohesion. And it's about when these companies were like, maybe we should go with the white male action hero again. It worked. And they made $1 billion in 3 days. Guys, Phil, would you like to make $1 billion in 3 days?
Yes.
Cast a white man.
Okay.
I'm available.
Hey, you're in.
Let's go. I've been waiting for
I'll
this.
give you the
People
stunt
just
double.
love looking at white dudes fighting
you,
bad guys.
I'll give you $100 million.
Yeah, I'd do it for like $10.
Well, no. I would feel like I was taking. If I got $3 billion, I would feel like I was taking advantage of it.
Dude, yeah, you just can't, like, this is the reality. You just can't put women in these roles because it's just like everyone sees right through it. Even the Foyds see right through it. Like, they just know instantly you can't be a hero like that if you're a lady.
Hollywood can't
sidekick.
They can't put together a female centric role, whether they are actually the main character or the top 3 without preaching a message. They have to insert. They have no idea how to write without preaching some feminist nonsense.
That's part of the truth. That's partly true. But I would push back on Tate's point because like it's not just that they're women. It's the way they write them. Listen, stop. Let me finish. Everybody that watches Aliens, they love Ripley. Everybody that watched Terminator, they love, I forget what her name was, Sarah Connor. Like, the point is, but they got their asses handed to them through the whole movie. The thing is, there is no struggle for these women. They're not compelling because modern stories about women, they're just automatically boss babes.
Listen. Here's the hero's journey should not be recategorized as the male hero's journey, because it's part of a male power fantasy. And what they've tried doing is they've tried figuring out what the female power fantasy is and then turning it into a superhero movie. So the trope is that the male power fantasy is when Spider-Man in Spider-Man 1 is fighting Green Goblin, and then he's holding up with one web Mary Jane and the other school bus, and then Green Goblin is like, what will it be, Spider-Man? Mary Jane or suffer the children? But Spider-Man saves them both. Mm-hmm. That's the male power fantasy. And he's like, no! And the good guy can save the children and the women. Here's the thing. Men like watching it. Women like watching it. Why? Women are enthralled by and attracted to the heroic man who can save the day and overcome all odds. Men want to be that guy. Rom-coms are considered to be the female power fantasy. And what are those? The woman donks about doing stupid things with no consequences and then gets the guy in the end. Or what is the Lifetime movie? The woman is in a committed relationship, goes back home, meets a handsome everyman, and ditches her fiance for this guy overnight, abandoning her multi-year relationship.
Yeah.
How many Lifetime movies are about a woman leaving her fiance for some guy she just met? A lot.
Yeah.
So when they analyze these films, I'm like, what do women like about these? The woman can do whatever she wants. She can drink, smoke, be a degenerate, and get whatever she wants. So that's what they did with Supergirl. That's what they did with Captain Marvel. And no one wants to watch it. Women don't want to watch it. They're not attracted to it. And men don't want to watch it because men don't want to be a woman degenerate. It doesn't work.
Well, and that's also, I mean, this is my point is like, before 50 years ago, can we even name any hero's journey stories that were like a woman lead? Maybe Wizard of Oz, right?
Like it's not a hero's journey.
Like Hunger Games, maybe?
No, I'm saying before 50 years ago.
Hunger
Before
Games,
50 years, okay.
Hunger Games is actually a really, really good example. Katniss Everdeen in Hunger Games. Why did that movie work? Because it's a hero's journey. It's a regular hero for the love of all. Yeah. She doesn't want to be thrust into battle. Yep. She makes an ultimate sacrifice to protect those that she loves, and we enjoyed that.
Yeah,
and then she
better.
It's
so good.
She wasn't a degenerate. She was a hardworking, like, farm girl who wanted to protect her sister and was forced into this by an oppressive machine, and we enjoyed the story.
And even with Peter Malark, like, he's a weaker character, but they don't say, like, oh, he's weak because we have to elevate the woman. I mean, that's just the way that was the way it was written, and but
it actually turns out
like
he has
a message.
Strengths.
Exactly.
Turns out he's super strong from doing farm work.
He's not just a baker. Like, he shows up for Katniss, and
this is the other thing.
Story.
How many of these feminist movies or girl power movies, the men are all just retarded and like evil? And then you get Hunger Games and some white guys are good, some white guys are bad. It's just, there was nuanced character development. Wonder Woman, the first one, was actually really good as well. It was sort of a hero's journey. I mean, she was born of the gods, but they did not make it preachy girl power, men all suck. Chris Pine's character was actually a hero himself. Yep. So when they try and do these stupid, like Supergirl, like, just stop. Just listen. Here's the thing. They canceled Blade, and that blows my mind because the Blade movies actually do well.
I like the Blade, yeah. Blade.
Yeah.
It would have been a cool action movie. It's a guy that just kills vampires.
But
cool
listen,
black guy that kills vampires, I'm in.
Here's the thing. They had such bad numbers with the black characters in all of their shows. They canceled it.
They should have put Gosling as Blade. Now that'd be a movie.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be Ghost Rider now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
It works with me.
God.
That'd be awesome.
People were like, no, he's got to be Black Panther.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, that'd be so sick.
It's the Netflix adaptation.
But I'm like, Hunger Games so good. Now imagine if it was a guy. Now imagine if it was one of the fellas in there. That would be now that's a movie.
No, I think this you're actually wrong about. It's not that women can't be in compelling roles in like an action movie.
I didn't
or whatever.
say that. I just said they can't be the hero in a hero's journey. And if they are, it's like a one-off.
Well,
Generally, it's always men.
like I said, I mean, generally yes, but the idea that
Historically.
they can't, I think, is wrong. Like I said,
Alice and maybe Alice in Wonderland.
Like
I was
I've already
thinking that, but she was kind of a degenerate for eating.
I've already said that.
Yeah, so then she wouldn't. So I was just saying, me and the boys were sitting around the other day. We were
Like I said,
pontificating, and we were
Aliens, Terminator
these are, like,
movies.
recent things when it's like now we're conscious of the fact that we should be putting women in, like in the last 50 years. Like,
Well, think about like Tomb Raider too. Like I don't know, like that's just another. That's
I don't know
just
how.
like
but what
I don't
I'm
know
saying
how
is
good those were.
post 1960s.
like they weren't technically good, but you just like they're enjoyable, but it's not preachy.
But post 1960s is when it occurred to people we should start putting women into these movies. When before that, it never occurred to anyone in human history. Like we should.
Yeah,
let's
but the
see, they're on a movie.
response to the women in them was different than it is today. Like in the past, 10, 15 years, and this is fairly new because of the way that women are written in movies now.
Well, I think
I'm
the
sure
stuff
there
that
was
Tim-
movies
I
in
saw
the
a,
70s and 80s with a woman lead that probably bombed. We just don't know about it.
considering this is a show for the fellas, I suppose, and everyone in here is a man, I saw a commercial today. I was watching Fox News, and it was a commercial for period pain at work. And it was like a woman like going to work and having period pain. And then it was like, get this drug, for your period pain or whatever. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Because like men don't have a regular thing where they have to self-medicate because of the pain that they're in while they're at their job. But it reminded me of when the Democrats came out and they were like, women should get paid time off for having periods. And I'm like, back in the day, women just didn't have to go to work. So when they had period pain, they were just at home chilling in the bathtub. But now that we're in this, like it's like feminism-ized, I don't want to say feminized, but like a feminism-ified society, now there is a need for a pharmaceutical to help women while they're at work because they're in pain that they didn't have to do in the past.
If women are given time off for their periods or they're given special treatment, then men should be given time off for dealing with women on their periods.
Well, you'd have to because it has to be equal.
Yes.
So if they're like women get 3 days off for their periods, men can choose 3 days off throughout the month. Otherwise, it'd be inequality under the law.
I'm going with the days that they're leading up to their period.
And the ultimate
days
result is this: is we just fire everybody.
Thursdays and
eat your
Fridays
robots.
for me most of the time, and then Monday after a long weekend.
I think they implement these kinds of things because it'll result in companies just hiring just buying bots. Like screw it, I'm getting a robot.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what's? Oh, go ahead.
No, it's just like, it's like a chicken or egg thing. It's like, did they hire robots because we were like lazy or whatever, or the other way around? I'm like, it's probably inevitable that we're going to go to like a 3-day weekend soon. I mean, this seems like when you see all of these, not even just tech leaders, but business leaders in general, they're all like starting to like sort of prep the American people for the fact that like, hey, we might move to a 3-day weekend pretty soon.
So have you guys? There's a new business that exists, and so poor people who can't get jobs will they'll rent a car for $100 a week to drive Uber and DoorDash. And so what now we're seeing is a second layer is there are people who will buy 20 Teslas
Yeah.
and then list them as available for weekly leases to DoorDash drivers. And so they're like, I make $15,000 a month off my fleet. And so, and they say like 6,000, 7,000 or so is profit for me to live off of, but I have to get tires fixed. I have to get repairs done, brake pads, all those things. So all in all, it's like I'm making, 70, 80K a year off of my fleet. We're going to have the same thing with Tesla bots. And I was talking to Seamus Coughlin actually just the other day. He was hanging out. And I said, when Tesla Optimus bots are functional for a restaurant, no one's going to have the initial 30 to 50K to buy one of these high-end Tesla bots to make tacos at a Taco Bell. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a dude who's going to get a loan from a bank to buy 20 of them. And then they're going to say, your store will lease 3 to us for, $10 an hour. Hey, a human costs you $20 an hour. We're half the price for the Tesla bot. Here's the best part. If it breaks down, we deliver a replacement on the spot, take the broken unit back. We deal with it. Those are going to be the future businesses we see popping up because we're already starting to see the car one.
Yep.
Yo, you're already seeing like McDonald's. I mean, they've already kind of moved away from like people. Like you go there and they have the big machine and you punch in your order or whatever, and then like 5 minutes go by and like the only real person in the entire restaurant pops out with your food. It's like the weirdest.
Haven't you seen they got the fully automated McDonald's?
Yeah.
Where you order a kiosk and then the arm goes and like picks up the French fries and then like.
Yeah, and it's just like one just like kind of heavy set lady will just come out and be like, oh, 223.
No.
The only lady that
No, bro. The automated McDonald's, the robot arm just picks it up and goes, and then drops it.
I think they'll always have her because someone's got to like yell at the robot.
They
also
encourage you to
got-
make an
Those women
account
run
at
McDonald's,
McDonald's
like the
now.
Marines. Oh, I have my McDonald's.
You have a McDonald's?
Yeah,
account?
you also got the app where you just type, order, and then you just go up to the drive-through and you say, "This is my number," and they're like, "All right, pull around."
I was
you
at
just go straight to the window to pick stuff up.
Now the drive-throughs at a bunch of these Wendy's or whatever, it was AI. Did you see these videos?
Oh, you can make them order 1,000 waters.
No, there was a really funny one where a guy was like, he started filming after he already ordered, but it was like he had like a number 1 and number 2, and it said it was $15,900, and he's like, what the hell? He's like, excuse me? He's like, what is happening? And it was like, hey, you're right. I'm sorry about that. And then it changes and it jumps up to like $1 million. And he's like, oh, no. Like,
Perfect.
Did he think he had to pay that? He's like, I don't know how I'm screwed now.
I was at a rest stop, and they had an ice cream vending machine that had a robot man. So it was a big machine with glass, and there's like a robot guy in it. And when you say you want to order ice cream, his like robot arm grabs the cup. And so I ordered the ice cream, and he grabs it and moves over, and then it hits the side and flips over. Then the ice cream comes down and just splatters, and then he goes to pick it up, but it just whacks it. And I was like, what the? Just give me a scoop of ice cream, man.
Yeah, they had my university, they had like a vending machine or whatever that automatically made burgers, but like the buns were always like soaked every time, and the cheese would be like on the wrapper, and it was just like got this reputation within a week of installation that it was just like the worst experience of your entire life. And then like a week later, someone just destroyed it. I guess they just got so mad that they lost $8 that they just destroyed the machine. They ripped the glass off, and there's buns everywhere. I was like, honestly, it had it coming. I think with such a horrific experience, and you're promised so much, automatic burger, and then. I'm thinking Rosie from the Jetsons, where she like pops a chicken out of her stomach or something.
Just imagine that, though. There's so many viral clips of people getting in the face of fast food employees. What do you do when there's a robot there?
Yeah, just like terminate you.
Like, now you look stupid.
No,
screaming at the robot.
I didn't want lettuce on my Taco Bell. I don't want watery poops. What are you doing? And the robot's like, thank you.
I want to speak to your manager, and then it's just like another robot comes out. Like, what do you do?
A slightly bigger robot comes out.
All right, what's the problem here? If they go back to talking like that, we're good. I'm like, hello, welcome to McDonald's.
I know that's the worst part is that there's going to be a robot with like fake eyes, and it's going to go, hey there, Tate. Can I make you a burger? And you're going to be like, stop, just talk like a robot. This is weird.
Engaging burger mode.
That's actually how you're going to talk, because the toxins and then the radiation and the post-apocalypse is going to leave you with one of those things. You're going to be like, I would like a cheeseburger. And the robot's going to sound like a perfect human.
Hey.
Sure, no problem, buddy. Let me whip that up for you.
That'd be awesome. I'm whatever the future is going to be good. That's all I know.
Well, so the question is, considering this, like, how does the economy change? 3-day weekends, but what does that mean? What do you do to make money?
Unironically, like this is the only, I've been like pretty tactically pro AI purely because I'm like, look, the current trajectory that everything is going so far is just like a disaster. There's no way we're ever gonna get women to stop working. Like that rabbit's just out of the hat. A myriad of other problems, immigration, etc. I'm like, honestly, AI might be able to screw up enough stuff that like it might revert us back to a sort of pre-modern state of living. Like it actually, women, because they just hate working anyway and they're all depressed, they might just be like finally have an excuse to go home in like a dignified way. And then like immigrants will just stop coming here because we don't need them anymore. Not that we really need them now, but like we definitely won't need them anymore. It's like, sorry, we can flip our own burgers. So I just like look around the economy and I'm like, actually AI might like destroy enough things that it might actually just end up working out in the end. So I'm like, it's worth it, because the current trajectory right now, we're just like swirling. We're like in a tailspin. It's like it's so over. So you kind of need something to come along and shake everything up.
I mean, I'm fairly optimistic about AI. Like I'm not one of the doomers. I think that it's actually going to be.
Yeah, it's just going to like do things.
Yeah, I generally think
Kind
so.
of there with you too.
I think you're all wrong. I think you're all wrong because I run a business where I'm watching revenue collapse in every market due to AI. Ad rates are down, production is mass produced, and by next year we don't even know how podcasts are going to make money.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I watched that happen in the music industry when Spotify came out, and like, it was.
When everyone here is out of a job but me, we'll have the conversation again.
Is YouTube pushing more like AI generated content?
They're demonetizing it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the rate of production is so rapid. If you're making fake content, if you're
not even utilizing, you're talking about like creating.
Generative AI is getting demonetized.
Okay,
but AI editing has taken over. So right now, if you look at Joe Rogan as a really great example. He's got a handful of episodes that are over 1 million. Like, sometimes they'll be over 1 million, sometimes they're like 500,000. And if you look at his hard metrics, and I'm not trying to drag Joe or anything, but he's the king of podcasting.
Yep.
His views are down, I think. He used to get 200 million. Now he's getting like 40 to 50 or something, like way down. And it's because people can now AI mass produce fake Joe Rogan videos. So when if the algorithm says this person likes Joe Rogan, you're not being shown the Joe Rogan clip anymore. You're being shown one of 50,000 AI generated Joe Rogan clips controlled by other people. So his viewership is going down. Ad rates are completely in the gutter. Sponsorships are gone. Everything's collapsing. And now podcasters are paying people to post their videos. So it used to be you post a clip, you made money off it. Then there was a bunch of piracy and we're like, well, it is what it is. Now it's so competitive that bigger companies are paying people to clip and post their videos, hoping it'll generate marketing for them, but you can't monetize them. One of the things we're looking at is how do we monetize that? So what's happened now is there's a handful of companies like Duel.com does this, where they put Charlie Kirk's face in the corner of a video for the algorithm, and then it'll be a clip of something totally random. You cannot compete with this stuff. So the fact that some random Indian guy is generating 10,000 videos per month means companies like this are going to struggle to exist in the next year or two. Already it's a big problem. Now, what I will say is, Forbes put out their top 20 biggest, most paid podcasters. I argue that list is largely fake because we would be on that list. But the point is, these people, they have contracts. So I'm not going to call anybody out, but the reason why one of these people might be getting $20 million a year is because a network pays them $20 million as a personality, and they're losing money on the show, but it's a loss leader. Now, we were actually profitable and make a ton of money, but we have to make the money ourselves. We don't go to a company and say, just pay us to be us. And then we don't care about viewership. No, we have to maintain viewership. So considering that, we've done a bunch of business things that have allowed our business to develop and grow so that we make money. The coffee business has been great. The skateboard business, we sell more skateboards than any other company, despite the fact all the American skate manufacturers are going out of business. But
is Santa Cruz still in business?
I'm pretty sure Santa Cruz is just China. So
okay.
I don't know for sure. I don't want to drag Santa Cruz, but I'll just say the overwhelming majority of top skateboard companies are just Chinese manufacturers at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah, American manufacturers are basically defunct, and I think we lost 4 already.
Wow.
Just going out of business. So we have to make money by other ways every day. And fortunately, because I would say that I planned well, we've actually maintained audience growth and revenue despite the fact revenue is dropping. YouTube revenue right now is half of what it was last year, and it's half of what it was the year before. So last year was half of the year before. So when I say AI is destroying us, and then, I hear you guys being like, nah, it's not going to happen. I'm like, well, count your days, I guess. Because every day behind the scenes, we are scraping our fingernails on the desk being like, we cannot compete with a 14-year-old Indian kid producing 10,000 videos of me. I can't make money off of that anymore. And they're making fake videos of me, which is causing death threats. So we're trying to figure out how to navigate this. And that's why I was talking to Seamus about maybe we just lease 100 Tesla robots out to businesses because we're not going to be able to do this stuff anymore, especially, again, when there's already people in India en masse have been doing this for years, making videos of me, of Joe Rogan, of Steven Crowder, and we can't make money off of that. They are stealing our content. We can't sue them. We can't stop them. YouTube won't do anything about it. So what do you do? What do you do? How, with ad rates dropping, everybody's views getting crushed. You can see what Tucker Carlson's trying to do. You can see what Candace Owens claiming that she has psychic powers now. Yeah. Candace Owens has been going on her show saying that she has psychic powers and magic because she's so desperate to get these clicks. We've monetized outside of direct YouTube stuff a long time ago because we knew all of this was coming. I've been planning for this for a long time.
Would YouTube technically do something similar to X? Because it seems like X is, if you post a clip and you try to say this is original content, you're not giving what the source is, and you're just trying to monetize off it for yourself, is YouTube able to do something like that where it's like, okay, this is Tim Pool. This came from Tim Pool's show.
They could, but I don't think they want to.
But so you think they just don't care?
Here's the challenge. So here's another issue. On TikTok and Instagram, a large portion of videos will be a viral clip from a show or a body camera, and there will be some random guy just staring.
Yeah.
And it's fair use now. His reaction is speech. Now it's transformative commentary. You're not going to be able to sue everybody. There's too much mass-produced content. So it's not just the AI. A large portion of it is it's the ease of content production, and there's nothing else to do. So
it's weird that
everything's flattening out.
And sorry to catch you off. It's weird because I've heard Nerdrotics talk about this in their space in film and TV. How there's people that will literally there's a trailer going on or some other like their clip, and yeah, all they're doing is just staring. Like, how can such a massive thing like YouTube not understand that this is not original content? They're not adding original commentary. They're not creating new discussion. They're literally just ripping it off in their faces. Like,
well, here's the challenge. It's not largely monetized as it is. YouTube Shorts, you'll get 1 million views, you'll make $20.
Yeah.
So the issue is, I think TikTok was a site from the get-go to rip people away from long-form, higher-level conversations and independent monetization. That's why Trump was like, don't destroy it, buy it, we'll use it. Instagram's doing the same thing. Remember when Instagram switched from you followed your friends and what they were doing to now it's just random videos?
Yep.
You open up Instagram, your feed is random people you don't follow anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think there's like two things going on here. First of all, like the Department of Education just should come out with data and be like, I don't know, we should just ban carousel content. That's obviously pie in the sky, but like banning carousel short form video obviously will just like literally fix everything. But I think what's going on here is anecdotally what I'm seeing is that more and more Americans are like spending less time on social media and they're just spending more time on like other internet adjacent things. But like dead internet theory is like something that everyone's talking about now. And everyone's like complaining about the same things. They're like the Reels, the TikToks is all just slop. Like Twitter, it just sucks now. It's just like everyone like posting the same thing over and over again. YouTube, it's all video essays now. So it's just like everyone is
AI generated video essays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of them are just outright AI generated or like heavily lean on AI. Both cases,
Or
kinda
you know,
suck.
we get a lot of there will be a dude watching a clip from IRL pointing going like this.
Yeah, and I remember, but this was like a big fight like a few years ago.
it's a very original point, though. Like, you don't see people do that kind of point.
But I remember
we can't make money off it anymore. They get 1 million views, and then we get death threats for it, and I can't afford security.
That's insane.
And it was a big fight. I remember a few years ago. I think it was around like the Fine Bros over like the idea of like how much of a reaction counts as original content. Like that was like the big thing. So that was like ground zero of like
And literally a video of you staring at the screen without moving.
Yeah.
So what happens is to beat the algorithm, a lot of them will just be a picture. And so a lot of this is coming out of India. They'll post a screenshot of a guy, and it'll just be a guy in the corner just not moving because it's not really a reaction. And then the challenge to YouTube is they could choose to be like, we are going to de-rank all of this stuff. Maybe they will. I kind of think this is intentional. Censorship didn't work, so what do? You drown everybody. So one of the reasons we launched the Tim Pool Show, I'm doing the straight one-on-one interviews, is because, again, we are planning for all of this. You can't, like, third-party commentary is getting crushed, and original sourcing is likely going to be more dominant in terms of content reach. Doing a show where we talk about the news, we opine, we fact-check, is getting flattened by AI and content mass production. One-on-one interviews where a person will say, here's a thing no one's heard before, will be the stone in the ocean and not the ripple. So that's one of the things that we're strategizing on moving forward. But I'm going to stress that point again. Revenue for the average person. If you got started doing the podcasting stuff in 2018, you are probably making like 7% of what you were at your peak.
Wow.
And it is largely due to AI mass-produced content. It has split everything up and devalued the content. It's also carousel content, like you mentioned. So again, when I say like, yeah, it's destroying these industries, I have no confidence in the next couple of years this business will be what it is. Now I can say this. I will have a company. It will exist. But that's because my company exists and we have the capital to move around and adapt to it.
Well, yeah, because this is like what radio hosts were saying in 2008, 2009, is they're like, oh, you know, like think like your Howard Sterns and all them are like, oh, crap, well, podcasting, you know, Mark Maron, whatever he's doing is like here to stay now. You know, guys like Tim Pool are coming into the game. So a lot of these radio hosts, they lost their livelihoods. But the unfortunate thing is like the obvious point, which is radio is still replaced by something of substance, even if it was in certain instances easier to make than like obviously having a radio show with an antenna. Like, it's still a product that can be consumed and you can garner some knowledge from it. It's really fascinating to see like the way people are like bifurcating now. Like something I'm seeing a lot of is now that Twitter is like basically unusable. A lot of people are like going to Substack. Like I pretty much get all of my information and to be honest, like a lot of my takes from people that I liked in the past who posted a lot on Twitter who like abandoned the website now because it's just like literally unusable.
Do you think that's based off like specific like heavy politics?
No, it's just like it's all just slop now, where it's like, like Trump will say something and there's like 30 different accounts, exclamation point, breaking, and it's just the same clip, and I'm like, it's the entire feed, and everyone's pissed off all the time, and everyone's regurgitating takes I heard from like 10 years ago.
It's not just and
the best posters are gone because they kept getting throttled or banned or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of creators really got throttled. Like I know even like I'm not a big creator, and my stuff got throttled.
Yeah.
But how about we did this segment a month or so ago when people just rip off other viral content?
Yeah.
So
That's all it is. Yeah.
I'm watching a video and it was a woman telling a story, and I was like, the story seems interesting. And then a few minutes later, a different woman telling the exact same story. Then there was that one video we covered where a guy was like, yo, what's going on, dude? And he's scrolling through Reels, and it's a bunch of different women, but they're mouthing over the same voiceover. So that's dominating everything. Long form is getting crushed. The future is going to be, if you are not licensed to a mainstream network and you are not an A-lister celebrity doing a show, you won't exist. Oprah Winfrey launched a podcast. Chevron launched a podcast. The strategy that I explained last year, 2 years ago, they're going to attack the space with AI content so that independent creators can't make a living anymore. And then they're going to finance the voices that adhere to the message and the narrative. So it's going to be like it was 30 years ago with network television. 5 channels, 10 approved voices, and nobody else.
What do you think's going to happen with clipping? Though, like you mentioned that earlier, and obviously that seems like the route that some of these places are going, and individuals.
It's not monetizable.
Yeah.
And so companies that are engaging in it are just, they're taking a marketing strategy that's not going to give you a path towards making money.
And you're just kind of hoping that people would get filtered to this show or this individual, this group.
Well, the idea is to sell a product in the clipping.
Yep.
So when you hire someone to clip for your show, you have them put a soda brand, a coffee brand, a product. And that's basically, that's why when you see clips, it'll be like duel.com. And it's a picture of Charlie Kirk, like, getting shot or something. I'm not kidding. Like, they do weird stuff. And Duel does like Charlie Kirk as the Tarunga baseball bat guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tongue
or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing
creepy, degenerate stuff. And now there's have you noticed the V stepped into a crowd thing? Have you guys seen this?
No.
Go on TikTok or Instagram. Every other video's caption will be V stepped into the crowd.
Yeah, there's that one, or there's like about Japan, or about like the soda made the old-fashioned way in New York City. Yeah, they repeat the same caption for like an algorithm purpose.
It's all fake,
Oh,
and it's largely because here's the thing: if you're in China or India and you're a peasant who wants to make money, you click a program, it will make 50,000 videos per day.
$20 is like a game changer if you live in India.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is why like I've maintained and. Like they got so close on like Twitter's was the last hope for social media, and like Nikita Bier, he was so close where he was about to pull the trigger on like what would effectively geolock monetization. So like if you're an American, you can only earn money from the American market. If you're Portuguese, only from Portugal. If you're from India, only from India. Like he was so close to saving the app, but like Elon or someone waited.
Someone
second.
tweeted it's going to negatively impact expats who are living in France, producing content for Americans and remote workers.
And it's like, okay, the solution there could be like, well, let's do basically the first world and then wall it off. Because it's like, that's how the internet was. When everyone thinks about how great the internet used to be, the primary reason is because the third world just didn't have access to the internet. So it's like, if you can just let us geolock, like if you let us as consumers pick where I want to see content from, I'm happy to see from the Japanese. Honestly, the Nigerians make some funny stuff sometimes. I'd flip it on for a week and get crazy and probably flip it back off. But like, just let us lock the world where it used to be, because that's where the good content's coming from. I'm sorry, India, if you're from India, whatever, you're not making good. There's nothing good coming out of Indonesia anymore, right? Or like not that there ever was, or Bangladesh, or
here's my prediction.
Oman. It's like, let us lock it to like America, Europe, Australia, Japan, South Korea. We're good. We're done.
This drowning out of content, I think, is frying people's brains as it pertains to culture and politics. It's just the same videos over and over and over and over again. Gambling content is skyrocketing like crazy.
Yeah.
There's like an insane amount of Gen Zers making vlogs for just gambling.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy how like Zoomers, I can't remember who made this observation initially, but like Zoomer entrepreneurship basically just looks like people scamming each other like all the time. And there's like a lot of truth to that. Like I remember seeing that in high school and college. The rise of sports gambling is like really depressing.
The third worldification of the internet.
And then just the internet becoming like just totally third worldified. So it's like, dude, you're just seeing a lot of young people or really people in general, but young people like tap out of politics, not because their brains are necessarily fried, but they've just identified that they can't extract any value out of the zeitgeist. And so they tap out when it used to be the zeitgeist was flooded with interesting ideas. Like you would see stuff in the mainstream that was like, oh, that's interesting. But we're at the point where we've heard it all. Like I've heard it all, you know, like every take I hear, I'm like, heard that. Like, sorry.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's why a lot of these guys like Tucker and Candace, it's like, yes, they may be just audience capturing an audience, but I think a lot of it too is like, where's the next taboo? We're out of taboos. Kanye went and said everything already. We're out of taboos, you know? You could maybe say the N-word.
It's not,
Michael Richards is the last taboo breaker.
It's not so much about taboos. It's about something new.
There's nothing interesting. It's been like you have Curtis Yarvin on a daily basis coming out and saying like we should just like abolish America and establish a monarchy, and people are like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of heard that like 3 years ago. Like we've heard it all.
Tim, tell me what you're thinking about betting content though. Like, what are you seeing? What do you think's going to take off? Because I mean, obviously, I'm with you.
Let's
I see
play a
sports
game.
Gambling. You can't watch a sports game without gambling stuff.
You had an agricultural economy.
Yep.
People largely just farmed. We went through industrialization, and you had a manufacturing economy. People made things for each other. Manufacturing starts to see mass automation as well as outsourcing, which turns into a service economy. Mm-hmm. People are not just doing services for each other. Many people argued you couldn't a service-based economy is not going to work. What do you mean? People got to get stuff. Then you got the information economy. With the rise of the internet, it was providing information to people like when movies were going to be available. Websites popped up, made tons of money. In the 2010s, Daily Wire was printing money off Facebook articles. Then we got the attention economy, and that's where we're at right now. The goal for the attention economy is to hold people's attention as long as possible. What comes after this? First, provide information to people. Then, everybody already has the information. So let's just beg them to stare at our faces for as long as possible so they can be in our universe. After that, we go into the prediction economy. Not just informing people, but holding their attention by accurately predicting events.
So you're talking more like prediction markets. So you're talking about poly market.
Prediction marketing is gambling.
Yep.
Sports betting is all the same thing. In fact, many of these sports betting apps are now talking about their futures contracts. They're not even calling it sports betting anymore. Yep. They're saying you can actually buy and sell as a stock.
Like, I've seen Robinhood doing that.
Robinhood does it now as well. Yep. Futures and events contracts.
Especially during the World Cup, I saw that a ton.
People are making money off of accurately figuring out what's going to happen. Now, I have some theories. I think this is AI programming, basically. The wisdom of the crowd predicting whether they think something will or will not happen informs the network, the likelihood of an event to occur. We call it the wisdom of the crowd. So the future is going to be twofold. The hybrid of attention and prediction is the gambling vloggers we see on the rise. And I'm talking, if you've not been following this, I'm sure you've seen a lot of it. There are dudes who are in their 20s making millions of dollars walking around with stacks because they sports bet.
Yep.
And they're advertising sports betting. We see these videos on Instagram where it looks like it's a viral clip where a guy's like, I'm going to feed this homeless guy. And then as he's handing him the pizza, he pulls up his app and starts gambling.
Oh, yeah, yep.
All that stuff.
Steak or something, yeah.
So apps like that with basically what I've been seeing when you're tracking the numbers, when you're tracking what young people are doing, gambling has become massive. So it's not just like casino gambling. It's anything predictive and then making content about how you achieved something or you predicted something correctly. Yep. Explaining how you knew a team was going to win, how you knew someone was going to elect it, et cetera.
Yeah. I mean, because that's the interesting thing is not to throw, I don't think Barstool is like trying to be like sinister about it, but I feel like there's a lot of the Barstool bros out there. They were it's like, yeah, like I'm not going to go to the bar with the boys and not bet on the game. Like we got to bet on the game. Like I can't watch the game without betting. So I'm with you. I feel like that's what's been interesting, and especially with the amount of money, specifically with a little bit more of those like actual they promote themselves as prediction markets, is Kalshi and Poly Market. It's through the roof compared.
Let me tell you something I was thinking about. It's very interesting. Can you think of any industry that is based around everybody, literally everybody, random people, non-professionals, coming together at a table to pool their money and see who wins? And it's an industry with professionals. There's an obvious one. I'm thinking about a job where you make money off other people losing money and you're a professional at it. And it's poker. And it's exploding like crazy. Don't get me wrong, the World Series main event had less players, but this time we think that may be due to the big, beautiful bill. And that may have actually been intentional where they created this tax law, which has destroyed the gambling industry. And maybe because they're like, we see what's coming. But I was thinking about pro athletes. Where do pro athletes get their money from? The sporting event sells tickets. People want to go see the event. They buy food. There's a lot of money made from TV rights. And then the company makes so much money they can afford to pay the athletes for the show, for the entertainment. Professional gamblers are making money off other people losing money. It's an interesting future when gambling is becoming so big. And I view it kind of like a UBI. Money that comes from nowhere. So you watch a lot of these videos that are popping up on Instagram and TikTok, and it was funny. I was at the World Series, and I was talking to a bunch of these poker bros, and I was like, you notice that there's like 7,000 24-year-old hot Gen Z women that are making poker videos now? I kid you not. It's insane, the amount of Gen Z women who are doing like sexualized content while playing poker. Why? It's a very guy-centric field. Guys are watching the content. They're trying to monetize their sex appeal off of the attention economy. They're playing a game where they try and make money off of other people losing money. That's UBI. When we go into a gambling future, young people just producing videos where they gamble, watching content where you gamble, it's basically you're contributing absolutely nothing to the system. This show is a conversation I joked was UBI because go back 200 years and tell a farmer that you can complain and make a lot of money. They'd be like, you're nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But the gambling stuff is literally just you're making a living off of people who are losing.
Well, that's even like
there's no contribution whatsoever.
It's the markets too. I mean, everyone's options trading now. At least the people that are have a bit newer to the game, so to speak, and like a lot of them are beating the market. So then the rest of them are like piling in these like triple leverage ETFs and stuff. And like Korea just had a huge market meltdown because they had like 3-time leverage option trades, and it was just like destroyed their stock market.
It was like 3% of the entire population got margin called.
Yeah, at once. And
it's
so
insane.
That's again unlikely to happen in the States, but it is to say that it's not like we don't have that problem. It's just their economy or their market is structured differently. But we have the exact same problem in the US, which is guys, leverage to the gills. And they, one bad month, like we've seen with Iran, one bad month, they're done for. So it's like you have a lot of these guys, it's mostly guys, again, whether it's gambling, whether, at the poker table or in the sports betting, or they just go into the casino, which is the stock market right now. First bear market hits, we're cooked. It's over.
Especially when you go to leverage, like if you're 3 times leverage, that's
the fentanyl of the stock market.
Yeah, if you're talking about like 3 times leverage, if it drops 25%, you lose 75% of your investment. Like
someone comes to your house.
It is great. Well, the banks can actually have the authority usually just to go ahead and liquidate your position. You're like, sorry, we're not losing all this money, and they'll sell all your stuff. So it like. I forget who it was. I think it was Warren Buffett that said the only time smart people lose money in the stock market is when they're using leverage. It just wipes you out. A bad day, you're just done.
Yep.
So and it's like you don't even have to go into technically have to go into bear territory to wipe someone out because
you just gotta get margin called.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
there's only 2 industries that are growing right now, so it's like if you're outside of those 2 industries, you're probably going.
Well, the point that I'm talking about is like it's reasonable to be like, oh man, the market had a bad day and it lost 10%, right? Everything went down. It's a huge, terrible day in the market. But if you're leveraged, that's 30% of your position. That's that's even
I was talking to Seamus Coughlin of Freedom Tunes because he's producing a show right now, and I just said, bro, it's over, man. I can make an episode of Freedom Tunes with AI, at a dramatically lower cost than you can with your team. And he was explaining like, yeah, but there's consistency issues. And so I explained to him like what you do is you preload cells into the AI, and then you have it render frames for you, and it will work.
Yeah,
and it will cut your costs way down. And we debated a little bit, and then I pulled up my phone and I played AI music, and he just went like, man, it's like, what do we do? And I'm like, dude, I don't think people understand. Like, sure, there are Gen Xers, millennials, and boomers who are like going to see music. Gen Alpha's growing up on click of a button, any song you want, whenever you want, only for you, and no one's ever heard it before.
It seems like the AI content is nuking the middle-aged people far more than the Zoomers, because like you're seeing, like, I mean, anecdotally, when you're watching a reel or whatever, or a YouTube video of like a person that's getting one-shotted by AI, it's almost always middle-aged to older people. Same thing when you see like AI slop, it's always older people in the comment section.
But you're talking about like believing fake news?
I'm saying that people that like derive value from AI as it stands right now. I'm not denying that maybe in the future this could change, but as like AI where it is right now, like young people perhaps, or people broadly that are just smart enough to detect AI versus not AI.
It's not about detecting AI. We're not talking about it.
But
we're talking about why would I spend $1 million making a movie I can make for $100 using AI? And that the quality will be lower, but it won't matter because I can produce 7,000 of these movies in the span that it takes you to make half of the movie.
But what I'm getting at is like a lot of these people that will be interacting with AI slop were already interacting with slop to begin with. I mean, why were these Marvel movies doing so well? Why is the radio filled with garbage? It's like because people broadly just have bad taste. So I'm like, AI, I think for people that are producing content that is high quality will always be able to find an audience of people that are seeking out high quality content. I think that's just going to be a truth that's going to, because again, when you look at who's getting one-shotted on the AI slop, it's like literally stupid.
So I will pause you right now and say that's literally the opposite of what is currently happening and has been for the last year. So you're just dead wrong.
Well, I think podcasting is declining because people don't have 2 hours a day
It's not
anymore.
podcasting. Everything is going down. Every form of content is on the
Odyssey
decline.
and Spider-Man just crushed the like box office records like
Sure.
totally indefinitely.
Because
Shane Gillis is selling out stadiums. I mean,
these things exist.
Yeah, we're getting a huge return.
These things exist, but we know that Gen Alpha is a smaller generation. So outside of the content explosion, you've got obviously big movies. Spider-Man, like when the woke stuff dropped off, Spider-Man's just following the trend we had already seen with the massive explosion of movies making more money than ever made. The big movies, like what did Star Wars make? Like $1 million in the box office? Like not even that much money.
It wasn't that much.
And now we're in the era of the $1 billion movie, basically since Marvel started. So you do have that. But when you were looking at social media, AI-generated content, first, they're already using AI in these movies. They're already cutting their costs with it, which is the point.
Yeah.
When you can go on Disney and say, I want to watch Spider-Man Brand New Day Part 2, and it can render it for you in 20 minutes, no one is going to want to invest $500 million in this when they can invest $50 million in this, but half of it's AI. And that trend's going to continue. And you are going to get 700 Spider-Man movies of this quality. And like maybe in 5 years, we'll be there. We're already at the point where commercial grade AI can make 5-minute short films. And I didn't even think we were going to be here 6 months ago. I was like, wow, maybe in a year with Sea Dance 3, we're going to see these 17-minute short films. Sure enough, they've already got commercial grade American AI 5-minute short films. And people are starting to make tons and tons of these things. The video essay, the mini podcast, mini documentaries, all getting erased, viewership rapidly declining. And this is the natural cycle of all content. You know, in the early days of YouTube, you had a big audience and few creators. So people were getting 1 million views. Those same creators by 2013 were getting 50,000. And they were like, what happened? Well, more and more content is coming out and less people can consume. People don't have the time during the day. But if you look at how much carousel content people are consuming per day, it's hours worth of content. So this has dramatically displaced the podcast, for which people were doing about 1.5 podcasts per day, or they were doing pieces of each. That's getting wiped out. Video essays are getting wiped out. So it's not even just about like a podcast. The 10-minute video is getting wiped out. It's not about how much time people have during the day. It's that if a single human can produce 10-minute segments in their morning show, but an Indian guy can produce 7,000, it's impossible to compete with it. And that happened a year ago. So we're in it right now. I'm tracking all the numbers. We've been watching for it. Will it get worse? I don't see why it would not. But where we are right now is we're already past the point that you were describing.
Well, I mean, yes and no, but I guess what I'm getting at is you're seeing a lot of people, return to sort of analog experiences. I think what we're seeing right now is the mass disengagement of Americans from social media in general. Not that they're not spending time on their phones. Clearly they are. But everyone is saying the same thing, which is Twitter sucks. Instagram is useless. Like I can't even see my friends anymore. There's nothing good on YouTube anymore. people are like piling back into like early 2000s, like TV, movies, stand-up comedy, sports is probably bigger than ever. So I think what we're seeing right now is the
Sports
mass.
is definitely massive. I think that's the one thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going. I'll cut you off for 1
No,
second.
I was just saying
It's
mass
like-
disengagement from social
and
media.
that's the interesting thing for me. It's like I'm in that sports space, and that's like X is still such a great place to get just really rapid fire sports content. Yeah, you'll get some of the same videos over and over, but keep going.
No, well, I mean, that one thing is like the World Cup, because it was like, oh, wow, like, this could be interesting to see who wins the semifinal, and then like porn video, guy getting his head cut off, and then more World Cup news. You're like, okay, great. X is awesome, the everything platform. No, but I know what you mean. But I think what we're seeing right now is more just like kind of a, maybe, I think these social media companies are going to be an interesting bind. It's like, okay, do we ensure we dominate in the third world for eternity, or do we like recapture American hearts and minds? And right now it seems like they're opting for the third world, because it seems like Americans are just saying, okay, we're done with like YouTube, etc. We're going back to the movies. We're going to watch Shane Gillis perform, or who you name it. Every comedian's crushing right now. We're gonna go see, we're gonna go see local sports game. The World Cup shattered numbers. The World Cup tickets like $1,500. People were still paying for it. So
Shane Gillis did sell 76,000 seats, but there's also blips. So there's one Gen Z stadium seller, Olivia Rodrigo. And then the rest of the younger generation can do arenas if they're lucky. Culture is fractured. And the other thing to consider is AI music taking over. We're already seeing studios being like, we're going to start producing with AI. There's a bunch of songs already released from legitimate human artists that use AI without people knowing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, and I want to be like careful I say this, the AI getting involved in music is just displacing people that I don't think anyone would call very good music anyway. Like a lot of rap music is heavily AI influenced now, but that's not really like, fine art. Like that's not music that people were listening to.
Don't tell Christopher Nolan that.
No, I see. This is the argument I heard in the 90s.
Tough.
I remember when I was a kid, people were like, electronic music is fake, learn an instrument. Me and my friends in the 2000s were using Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
And then we heard from all these older guys, they were like, learn a real instrument. This is fake music. And then what happened? They all got displaced by electronic production.
Yeah, but you're seeing a push back into like more analog music again. I mean, like Ella Langley's #1 on the charts right now. And like yes, there's obviously electronics involved in the production of her music, but generally it has this very acoustic kind of analog sound. And I think yes, AI is obviously a threat to creative roles. I'm not denying that. But what I'm trying to get at is I think a lot of this is just like cultural movements. Like I think people right now are just kind of burnt out on social media. They're like, I got on this, the contract when I got on Instagram was I was going to see what my friends were up to. And now I can't do that anymore. So I'm off. Like my screen time has gone down rapidly, and I get effectively paid to post. And I hate Twitter now. I deleted it from my phone. I just get on my desktop and use it because it's like literally unusable.
But I think
You made a great point. The social contract, I completely agree with this, was I want to see what my friends are up to. And now the only thing I ever get fed is what random people I don't give a shit are doing. And they're all saying the same stupid things.
Yeah, I think people are I think we're seeing a mass crash out. And I think, again, I'm sure there's people in America that are just completely like slaves to their social media, but like they were going to be that way anyway. Like these are people that were never pushing culture forward to begin
And all these
with.
people want to be content creators. And I mean, this is coming from me, who's a content creator, and I make a living off social media. I think most people, they want to say, I'm giving a political take on this, or I need to find a niche there, and I need to be able to build my brand. There's people, I wonder how many people are actually using social media just to post that stuff that we used to enjoy back in the day. Probably not a lot. They're probably just consuming.
Yeah.
They're probably not just actually providing any sort of, here's my family and the kids, and then we went on this vacation, or like it's all, I have to give a take on something politically. I'm building my brand. That's what social media is.
Well, and the fundamental problem with like this phenomenon that I'm suggesting, which is like the great disengagement, is people aren't disengaging and like having families and like, I don't know, doing healthy things. The problem is that they're disengaging, but engaging with what we were talking about earlier, which is sports betting, like stuff that's not good for you. So yes, they're disengaging from social media, good, I guess, but they're not pushing into like tradition again, or like anything that would be like uplifting to the soul. Most of them are just finding something else that will like slowly chip away at them.
Well, they're trying to find an
Actually,
outlet.
this is a good point as to why maybe gambling content, sports betting, casino gambling, poker are taking off. It's because it's the one thing where you can't say something we didn't hear before. If you want to see something new, something different, it's not going to last forever, but it's watching the person say, here's a thing that never happened before, and people are like, whoa, a thing.
Yeah, well, that's why what is sort of becoming the central of the room, the center of the room is content that is like clavicular. We've never seen that before. But once you see it once, there's a reason why there's not other claviculars popping up. Okay, they exist, but like no one's as big as he was at his peak because no one. We got it.
But like we
move on.
Clavicular's not big.
Right, but as far as like, taking up the gravity in a certain space, I'm just using him because everyone in the audience will know who he is. So I'm just saying like, this is a guy that, he wowed everyone, but he didn't create a industry of claviculars. It was just, that was that guy. That was a weird thing.
It's something new.
Yeah.
Something different.
Let's find something else.
Because literally everything online every day is the same. And we've like people chat here and I totally get it. They're like, it's the 17th episode of the same exact thing the Timcast crew is talking about again.
Yeah, it's like, when do you want us to complain about the SAVE Act for the 50th time? I do this on the Rumble show where I'll be going through the news and I'll like look at chat. I'm like, does anyone care? We're about to have 20 Rumble shows after me that are going to talk about the exact same thing. Do you want me to just talk about like, I don't know, gooning or something? And then typically the chat's like, yeah, actually.
Well, the truth is we want pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not even a joke. This is people wanted something new to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking for some kind of escape from the mundane of the political world, especially seeing as there was so much energy around Donald Trump being reelected, and then there is a lot of people that feel let down. So there's a lot of people that are just like but this goes back to the whole argument about people are really cynical, people are checking out of politics. It's like, when it comes to people that get their hopes up for some kind of big change and they put all their eggs in the Donald Trump basket, and then he doesn't deliver the way that they wanted him to or the way that they think that he should have, it's really hard to not be like, it never changes. Like Brett, he says all the time, he's like, things happen, but nothing ever changes.
Yeah, well, and
there's validity to that.
And I think this is the way to like properly understand Gen Z as well. Is like, okay, like sure, you have a far left element that exists in virtually every generation, but I think the vast majority of Zoomers would probably vote for the Democrat Party. They do vote for the Democrat Party actually, but they aren't like culturally like leftists. Like they are pretty nihilistic. They think people that care a lot about politics are cringe. It's just when it comes down to brass tacks, it turns out that the policies that they would want to see are actually closer to what the Democrats would support. So that's why people are getting this perception that like, like the vulgar wave is back, right? Like, this kind of 2000s monoculture is back, but it's not like the Republicans are dominating now. Like, okay, yes, the institutions are becoming less obviously leftist, but it's not like the Republicans are necessarily dominating now. And it's like, yeah, because they'll still vote for the Democrats. It's just they aren't interested in like Victoria's Secret having fat people everywhere.
I also want to stress there's no great battle right now. Spider-Man hit $1 billion in 3 days. Woke is gone. I mean, it's like not literally. I know there's still elements there, and get Hassan Piker and these weirdos. But as far as the threat to people's jobs, like you were saying earlier, no one's going to lose their job over saying retard.
No. Yeah, I mean,
and that was the big deal. Like it wasn't.
It's lost its fastball. I think that'd be the way I would.
Well, that's the thing that people got upset about is the most mundane, social faux pas would end up ruining people. That woman the first person that got really canceled, that woman that got on a plane and when she came back, she lost her job because she said,
Netflix.
I'm going to Africa. I hope I don't get AIDS or, haha, just kidding, I'm white. Like it was fairly self-deprecating and she was like, her life was annihilated.
Nick Sandman, he like looked at an Indian weird and they like tried to like nuke
Well, yeah, but the point that I'm making is like the social attacks for the most mundane, silly things are probably over. If you do something that's actually offensive to a lot of people, then there might be some kind of call for like, you have accountability or whatever kind of gay thing they want to call it. But like the fact of the matter is, if you're just kind of like, look, I have these opinions and they're not 100% in line with what's politically correct, most people are just like, meh, whatever. The real fire behind woke is basically gone,
Yeah, they still have a lot of their tools, I would say. Like they're still able to impose their will if needed. But yeah, they've lost their fastball, and I think the reason why a lot of people feel like the boot's off their neck is because it's not as like in your face. I mean, like again, you go through Victoria's Secret, and it's actually like normal looking people on there again. It doesn't look like the bar scene from Star Wars. You go to the movies, and it's not like obviously subversive. You kind of got to look between the lines to see how it's subversive. So and even at sports games, like they've kind of like stopped doing the kneeling and all that. So, things are kind
Sports
of
are definitely still very
very woke, but
very left wing. I mean, even
the benchmark came so high during 2020 that like now that it's coming down, we're like, whew.
yeah, and I think there's some sports leagues like the NFL. They've learned their lesson a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be remnants of that stuff, and I wonder how long those remnants are going to last. Like the Super Bowl still has a black national anthem.
Yeah, literally.
There's still virtue signaling, but yeah, I mean, obviously the peak between 2020 to 2022, people tuned out. And you're talking about like, why does Spider-Man work so well? Because this is the actual outlet away from the culture war and politics, and it's a place where you put your phone away. Like, where's the other place within your life that you put your phone away for 2+ hours?
It's
like where? And then actually be entertained and not leave a movie theater thinking like, oh man, they really tried to push a message or an agenda or like this, that, or the other thing in previews. It's like, no, you actually got away for a few hours. It was an outlet and you enjoyed it. And that's why it's like, oh, I want to go to the movie theater now. And
there's always going to be a market for that, right? So an escape from the day-to-day things that you have to worry about. So like whether it be Spider-Man or whatever movie.
And sports used to be. I think they're getting back.
I think sports are definitely back to where that was. Like I think sports are at like apex right now. I mean, the World Cup was huge. People that didn't care about soccer at all were like, finally, something that like people are excited to be in America. I'm interested. And then they'd watch it and they're like, it's kind of a fun product, I guess. And it's like everywhere in the world was watching it. Certainly in America. That just shows you like sports is at its peak right now. Like everyone, a lot of conservatives who are like, oh, sports ball or goy ball. It's like, dude, you don't understand
Goy ball.
that people are engaging in sports because they're sick of the politics.
Well,
like
and even a lot of
gets
people
the
like
partisanship out without having to be political.
And even like in America, I mean, soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but most people that don't care about soccer, they're like, I care about America. And I'm actually it's not like the women's national team.
Yeah, where they're like
that just like Megan Rapinoe's out there and Alex Morgan and they're pushing some stupid agenda. They're like, wow, this actually is an escape. I feel patriotic.
Yeah.
They're singing Country Roads. This is great. And then that's on the back of our men's hockey team winning gold
being awesome.
In hockey in the Olympics. I mean, that's.
Well, it gets and this is how like it functions with soccer and Europe. This I think functions across all sports in the United States. Is it's like a release valve for like partisanship. Where like men, to be fair, like I think about Scotland and it's so liberal. And I'm like, if the green team and the blue team would just like lock in, like take their country back, there probably won't be many migrants there for much longer. But like. That's what I'm getting at is the point of sports is that it typically grows in popularity when people want to like get that partisanship out. Like, oh, I hate the New York Nets or the Brooklyn Nets and I'm a New York Knicks fan till I die. And it's like, because that allows you to get out the partisanship without making you feel bad and getting involved in politics and like actually maybe hurting someone's feelings.
I mean, I wonder, there's big stuff going on with New York, like Mamdani's doing. Let's do this. Let's pull this story up. This is, the end is nigh, I guess. Nobody cares though. Mamdani says no ID for voting, but bring one to his government grocery stores. Sort of a library card-esque thing. Okay, I'm going to give the quick version. Mamdani's opening grocery stores. They're going to set the prices 30% below retail at their store, hold that price for the month, and reassess every month, and keep their prices 30% lower than the competition. The expectation is that surrounding grocery stores can't compete with a government-run grocery store, so they'll lose a percentage. They'll lose a decent percentage of their customer base, which will cause a collapse of these businesses. As it does, ultimately these stores will go out of business. They'll be forced to lower their prices, trimming their margins, which are already small. They'll end up losing customers anyway because you can't compete with 30% off because they operate on like 5% margins if they're lucky. It could be 2%. Go out of business. Here's the best part. This will result in a food desert where your only grocery store is the Mamdani City grocery store. But because now people who used to go to 6 bodegas are going to one store, they will not be able to keep it stocked. It's not that big. This will result in shortages, but fear not. With their new library card-esque thing, they'll make sure you're only purchasing 1 loaf of bread and 1 gallon of milk per week. So now, as you wait in your bread line for your bread, and you go to buy it, they're going to say, I got to scan your card. They're going to scan it and say, I'm sorry, someone in your household already bought bread this week, so you can't have any more. And now you're literally looking at a Soviet-style system. This is why it's failed every country it's been tried in. It's why it failed even 15 years ago in Venezuela. Mamdani knows what he is doing. And so the bigger picture of what we're talking about is that everyone's checked out. No one cares about politics anymore. And it's worse than it's ever been in New York City. But hey, Mamdani came out and lied, claiming that he got DoorDash drivers tips. And so bread and circuses, baby. Your peasant workers who spend more money on their vehicles because of wear and tear, who don't realize they're getting ripped to shred by these delivery apps and by Uber, are now getting slightly more tips. It's like the people standing outside screaming, we're suffering, and Mamdani comes out and throws bread at them and says, I've solved your problems.
Yeah, the arbitrage opportunities are going to be like sick. Like you'll be able to totally like print. If you manage to get your hands on a library card in New York, you can go on there. Because I think what the proposal is, well, it's not, they're building one in the Bronx, is 30% off of all essential goods like meat, dairy, bread, etc. So you just buy that at a 30% discount. Dude, New York already has so many illegal street sellers anyway. Like when I lived in Queens, you would be on the BQE traffic, and they would have these little Colombian women like weave in and out with like pretzels and like fruit and stuff. So those are going to be the ones that are just going to like ultimately end up with a lot of these things and then sell it to us. The people
markup.
The people that magically
why-
are unable to get access to these grocery stores, but
hold
like
on.
all of us.
This is why he doesn't say it, but it's a fact. You will be rationed at these stores. Mamdani was asked, what if someone comes in and starts buying them up? And he's like, well, we don't want resellers to buy it at cheap and sell it higher. So there will be like, he brings in this woman and she's like a sort of library card thing. The implication is that they're going to restrict how much one person or household can buy. That's the only way you can do it.
Yep.
So when they put everyone out of business, you will then go in and get your allotment of milk like the communists did in the Soviet
It
Union
will
and
be
China.
interesting
think
if
that
Treating these like the Pokemon that comes out at Target. You can only buy so much.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy. That's the first thing I think of is like you're treating bread and milk and groceries like new Pokemon blaster boxes that are coming.
I
out.
heard-
You can only get so much.
This creates a. Oh, sorry, Phil.
I heard a really good or really interesting take by Freeberg on the All In podcast. He was saying that he thinks that these are going to be extremely popular. They're going to work for a while because it's going to take time for the disruption to actually filter through the whole city and stuff. And so they're going to get short-term wins on these. And you're going to see a lot of people clamoring for these in other cities in the country because, again, if these work for 2-3 years, that's long enough for people to be like, oh, it worked in New York, it can work here, and demand that, you get these kind of things in Chicago, you get them in certain parts of LA, and Seattle's going to follow suit because they've got a communist mayor. And so you're going to see a lot of this stuff turn into a short-term win for the far left because people will vote because you give them free stuff, right? If you end up getting people free things and they feel like they're benefiting from a politician, even if it's a communist or what have you, they're going to say, oh, this is actually good. This is working. And most people are going to think, look, we know that the rich don't have to pay their taxes and the rich get all this and blah, blah, blah. So it's time that we got something. These things are going to work.
It seems like the new cancel student loan debt.
Kind of, yeah. It's going to work for a short amount of time and by short amount of time, I mean 3 to 5 years. And you're going to see these things pop up and it's going to turn into Democratic Socialists winning more victories, more electoral victories because of this stuff. Because it's going to give socialism, it's going to polish socialism up and it's going to make it look good. And that doesn't mean that it's going to work long term because obviously they don't have the funds. You can't continue to do this forever, but they can work in the short term and that can turn into electoral victories, which is bad down the road for the U.S.
I think absolutely. Like that's kind of the clear pill here is that because they're only doing 5 of them and they're doing them in the 5 boroughs, like this is going to function for like 15 years.
It'll function.
You really think so?
Yeah, easily.
How am I the only one who thinks that this can't last for more than like 3 weeks before everyone buys everything?
Because there's only one of them in each borough.
Yeah, that's like you can, and then they have a private grocery operator coming in to like basically.
Do you think I just can't see them being able to replace stuff as fast as people will be buying it for 30% of the price? Maybe I just.
Well, like they're putting them like this is the thing is like they're putting them in places. So like what they've said is actually true is they are putting them in places where there's like limited grocery store options anyway. So you're only competing with like bodegas in your area, and people hate shopping. Like everyone in New York glazes bodegas, and it's like, dude, people hate buying groceries from there because like the milk's always expired, the eggs are always cracked and whatnot. So like these will work really well. Or they're gonna make money? No, obviously, but it's like $70-90 million is what's cited. That's like a drop in the bucket for New York City.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they make money at all because the cost is going to get offloaded onto the city.
But what's more interesting is, okay, let's say they function for 10 to 15 years. The imperative question is, what does this do to SNAP? Are these going to be SNAP eligible? That's not up to Mamdani. That's up to the USDA. So if the USDA decides that, yes, like municipal ran grocery stores will be SNAP eligible, then we're in trouble. Like, then you're going to see these pop up everywhere. If they're not, I don't actually think people will shop at these as much as you would think they would, because if they can get SNAP benefits at, Key Foods and they can't get it at Mamdani store, they're still going to go buy it at Key Foods.
So that's going to so who runs SNAP?
USDA.
USDA.
Yeah. So under Trump, they could totally screw with Mamdani.
Yeah, under Trump, but as soon as a Democrat gets in, the first thing you're going to do is say, "Oh,
well, the problem is SNAP is like, even under Democrats, SNAP and food, like any sort of nutritional assistance, is like completely dictated by the private sector. Like, we literally had a bipartisan bill to make rotisserie chicken SNAP eligible, and you may be saying, "Oh, that's like no, it's because infamously rotisserie chickens are a loss leader at grocery stores." So obviously, like, the entire grocery store industry, Walmart, Tyson Foods, they're all lining up like, yeah, make rotisserie chicken SNAP eligible so you can like subsidize our loss leader. Brilliant move from them. So I actually don't think I think that's like Mamdani's blind spot. And I've seen a few pieces propose this is like, look, if the USDA, even under a Democrat, doesn't play ball, then you're kind of cooked. Like, it's dead in the water, because most people are going to say, well, I can get my food basically free or for 50% at Key Foods versus a 30% markdown at Mamdani land.
They'll just
immigrants will probably buy it. They'll
just sell their SNAP benefits, and so that way they can get the money and go buy it at the what's it called?
Either way, like,
grocery store.
They'll still be buying from, because SNAP is federal dollars. So if you're Key Foods, you're still making your money. They don't care. They don't care where that money came from. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm getting at is, like, it's actually kind of a nightmare scenario if the USDA doesn't do anything, because people will still keep Key Food. They'll keep all these grocery stores afloat with our money, and the Mamdani grocery store will do well. It's actually like a worst case scenario. Yeah. But Trump has to come in here and say, and various other organizations that say, no, you're not doing, that's stupid. You're not using SNAP benefits at Mamdani stores. Keep everything afloat, let them survive for 10 years, and then people get bored of it in 10 years. Because, like, I think that's the ultimate takeaway from Mamdani is, like, you're going to get more vape stores, more, like, people on mats selling trinkets. He's going to, like, rage bait the conservative media for another 3 years.
Yeah, like I said, I think that the fact that they're going to be successful for a short amount of time is going to turn into more DSA electoral victories. People are going to look at this and be like, look at what they're doing. They're helping people, and you're going to see far more people from the DSA and far more people with these type of programs on their platform list. You're going to see that stuff. If
they're SNAP eligible, they crush. Mamdani gets to tout that all day long.
Oh yeah,
they're not SNAP eligible. People still go to Key Foods, and they'll be like, well, at least our shelves are full. And, like, I honestly, it'll probably be a lot of, like, hipsters that'll be shopping at them, if I had to guess. Like, I think it could turn into, like, if poor people aren't able to get, if they don't want to use it because they can make more money buying from Key Foods, I could see it just become like a hipster thing to go to the Mamdani one in Hunts Point or whatever.
Could be, but I don't, anything that shines up the DSA, I think is bad long term.
Yeah. So, the feds have options here. I'm sure the USDA, this is on their radar. Will they do anything? Who knows?
Let's pull up this story. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It was a couple months ago, but it's still going viral. NVIDIA's latest partnership could pay your entire electricity bill by turning your home into a mini data center. So someone apparently said they got $22,000 covered. They'll cover your electricity. Apparently, you got to pay them because it's a service, but then they cover your electrical costs and your internet costs or whatever. So you end up making back a lot more. Mm-hmm. And the theory is that we're not going to get data centers all over the place. This plan is to put mini data centers on every house possible. Mm-hmm. It's cheaper. No one's going to complain because they're getting benefit from it. And then you will have a much, much larger decentralized data machine instead of a large data center.
I like that. I think, like, okay, you read the headline, it's horrifying, but then you actually think about it and you're like, I'm sure this provides, like, future governments or whatnot, like, options in case, like, people want to reclaim autonomy over these massive data brokers. That gives them tools at their disposal if they quite literally are just storing all their data locally. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the problem is, I don't know exactly how it would be wired up, but surely it's not actually storing your local data. It's just storing random data.
Did you guys know that Spider-Man, the last one that came out before this one, was 5 years ago?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know. I hadn't thought.
2021. Yeah. They did 2017, 2019, 2021, 2026.
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, right?
No. Tom Holland was Homecoming was 17. Far From Home was 19, and No Way Home was 21, and Brand New Day is 5 years later. The reason I bring that up is, can you believe it's been 5 years?
No.
I think everybody is bored of everything. And I bring this up in the context of the data centers because of what it means that 5 years passed. And it's like, man, really? Didn't, like the Spider-Man with Doctor Strange in it? Like that was 5 years ago? Wow. What were we doing for the past 5 years? The same thing every single day, the same stories over and over again, and then our brains just snapped.
It's like the blip.
It is. And I think I bring it up in the context of the data centers because as much as we're talking about, you know, people want to be more analog, they want to hang out with their friends, I'm not entirely convinced because that's boring to people too. It's been 5 years and it's like, where is the time gone? Like, what are you doing? What are people doing? I think people are going to flock to these data center machines to get the mini universes. I think they're going to put on the neural bands. They're going to go into VR and they're going to play video games. Wait for GTA 6 to come out.
Yeah, that'll be a really interesting.
Podcasts are dead, and it's going to be 70 million videos of GTA 6.
GTA 6, I think, is going to be like, if it's a good game, or at least a a fine game, it'll be the biggest cultural moment of the 2020s. I genuinely believe that.
Yep. And
you're going to have like their economists are predicting like a 5 to 6% like decline in the economy, and I'm like that.
GTA 6
when it releases because so many people will call out a sick.
Yeah, like does it even need to be good?
Oh, I'm calling it sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I'm sorry, Phil. I can't make it. I got something came up. Family.
Oh, dude, I was planning on getting cancer around then, so I'll be out for like a week.
Just a week.
It's like a spot. Yeah, it'll be fine.
No, but ultimately, I just think that when we're talking about how people are bored with everything, what's new anymore? I feel like AI content fried our brains faster than we realized. Just getting videos of Charlie Kirk and George Floyd polka dancing together. It's like, I've seen it all, bro. I saw a video where Charlie Kirk turned into a baseball bat and then went gambling. I don't even know what I'm looking at these days. It's like a fever dream.
I saw the baseball bat come into a house party and then murder everyone with a baseball bat. It was the same guy.
Very avant-garde.
It was like watching a weird, like.
And the crazy thing was that V stepped into the crowd.
V stepped into the crowd?
Uh-huh.
V? Who's V?
It's an AI content reference.
It's what?
Every other video on Instagram is titled Tonight
okay,
V stepped into the crowd.
I don't look at Instagram, so I don't know.
Oh, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, it's all identical. Random clips of the same thing over and over again in slightly different ways, AI generated. People are saying the same jokes. I've seen this, that joke like when you forget you're 40 and then you fall. Probably saw 500 of those identical.
I've seen a boatload of those.
Same house party, the fruit punch guy also came in and then put somebody inside of his fruit punch. And then
AI video, like it's like taking someone's tongue and dumping, I don't know, like just capsaicin all over it. Just pure capsaicin. All of the spice of the world all at once. And you're like, and then your tongue's charred and just like blistered and you can't taste anything anymore. And you're like, I can't taste anything. That's kind of what it feels like with the AI content.
I get how like engrossing the swiping videos can be because I do it on X sometimes. You watch a video, next thing you know, you're 4 videos later or whatever. But I really just don't do that sitting and swiping and stuff. So I don't.
You're an old man.
I am an old man, and I have a brand.
Young
new
people
kid.
are doing it. I went shopping with my wife, and it was like a women's clothing store, like a boutique in Virginia. And this lady comes in with 2 kids, and they immediately sit down on the floor and just start
swiping.
content.
God.
And I'm literally watching them go.
Yeah, they should just like unironically ban it. Like seriously, there's not a good argument why it should still be legal. Like, personal freedom. It's like, dude, who cares? We're 20 years past.
That stuff terrifies me though. Like as I got 2 young kids at home, and I was walking my son and my dog one morning, and every single car that was going down the road, we walk to this spring training baseball field across the street from our place. Everybody was on their phone, and I went home to my wife. I'm like, we already were talking about, make sure our kids are not getting smartphones early. They're not going to be on the iPads. They're not going to be in front of the screens that much. But I mean,
how old are your kids?
15 months and just over 4 months.
Well, this is the white pill because
I've got a 9-month-old, and he doesn't watch TV. We obviously haven't given him a screen or anything. we keep the phones away from him. Like, he's living in a tactile world where, like, reality. And I've got some friends who have, they've got kids of similar age, and it's like they're talking about the shows they like and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, none of that. We're probably not going to let my kid watch TV until he's at least.
Well, just think about like how messed up all of us are in this room at times with social media, with just scrolling, and then even if it's just scrolling video or it's just on X, and it's like I'm just reading one thing after another, and then I got to see what this next thing is, and I don't want to miss out.
Scrolling half the time. It just goes to the next one like automatically.
Exactly, and then now you have these kids, and it's just like, all right, they're going to be screwed. They're going to be totally brain dead.
I've got a 15-month-year-old. She's not having a phone. Right now, she has a calculator that doesn't work, so she pretends like, hello, like I'm on the phone and stuff. That's the closest
This is the white pill. This is why, like, I'm actually kind of white pilled on whatever generation this is now. If this is like the tail end of Gen Alpha or if it's something new. Anyway, because every new parent in the last, like, that's had a baby in the last, like, 3 to 5 years is saying the exact same thing in every single conversation, which is, no chance in Hades my kids even touching a phone until they're 16, because they understand how much it's destroyed their life. Where I think, like, it is possible for things to get better. Like, it is possible that the culture is reacting.
I get what you're saying, but all you have to do is go to basically any family restaurant, and the idea that most people are doing that will be dashed.
But those people aren't going to be doing anything anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. The idea that there's so many young people that, and I'm talking about little kids. You walk into a Cracker Barrel and sit down and have breakfast or whatever, and there's all around you kids with.
You need to go through the tough stuff. It's uncomfortable to go to restaurants and go out with kids at times. Mm-hmm. They're unruly.
They took away the crayons.
You have to go.
Yeah, but just play with the crayons.
You have to go knowing that if the kid does something wrong, you're going to have to get up and leave.
You don't give them the iPad to be like, I hope that they just start forgetting, and then
they're gonna do something. You're gonna miss some meals. They're gonna do something wrong. You're gonna have to pick that kid up and be like, okay, we're done. You can't do that. You're done with your meal. We're going home now.
Short time uncomfortability to get some long-term comfort and some connection and peace, and you're setting, like, all these people are doing, and not to just dog on a bunch of parents, because I get there's times where if you're on a road trip, they're like, all right, if our road trip is longer than a couple hours or something, we'll give them an iPad to watch something for a little bit of time or whatever. But in general, if you're always going to go back to that, you're ruining your child.
Do the drive overnight so that way the kid falls asleep.
Yeah,
we're seeing like another IQ filter. Like, we've seen lots of IQ filters set up in genetics over the last few decades. This is another one where you're basically dividing kids between parents that had high time preference and parents that had low time preference, and your time preference stems from your IQ. So you're seeing a lot of children are now getting nuked because their parents don't care about them, or they're they're dumb and they just can't read any articles. They're saying, do not give your kid an iPad, it's terrible, it will destroy their life. They're purposely ignoring it, or they're ignorant. Either way, it's not any positive traits I could attribute to someone that's just shoving an iPad so they shut their kid up. But what's going to happen is that kid's going to end up retarded, and then y'all's kids, y'all's very intelligent people who are raising your kids correctly, they're going to be fine because they weren't on screens all the time, and they're going to be bossing around the dumb kids. So it's just another IQ filter. That's
it's like in the time machine. In the future, you've got these gaunt, thin, hyper-intelligent humans.
The Morlock and the Eloi.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's an IQ filter. This is people have talked about this for years, that we're kind of heading to this great filter where there's no longer going to be a middle class. It's just going to be the smart versus the dumb.
Thank God.
And it's but the problem though is we have IQ shredders where people that are really smart move to Austin and their birth rate drops to 0. So we kind of got to figure out how to stop IQ shredding from happening. But I think the iPads are creating a big divide.
We're going to go to the uncensored portion in a few minutes, but for now we're going to grab some of your Rumble rants and Super Chats. So smash that like button and share the show with everyone. We got Racist who says, Racist, what a name. Per Timcast tradition, please welcome a new U.S. patriot to the world. My beautiful wife delivered Atlas, our first, this morning just before 8 a.m.
Congratulations.
Mom and son are both doing great. Let's go.
That's amazing.
David Flora says, Tate would prefer camel races over horses because he's anti-American.
What did I say that was anti-American?
You're a soccer fan, yeah.
Oh. We didn't say football.
No, yeah. I don't know. Camel races sounds kind of sick, actually. That would be kind of cool.
Soundless Step says, hey, Timcast, did you know about Malcolm and Simone Collins and their channel Based Camp? They're super pro-natalist, and Malcolm is a master manipulator of AI.
Oh.
I wonder if AI is just intending to be that filter. Like, you hear these stories. You hear that story about the guy who was convinced by AI that he like figured out how to save humanity. You said story?
Yeah, and it's like these people are crazy anyway.
Yeah. He was like talking to ChatGPT and it was like, you're so smart. How did you solve this problem? Only you can do it. And he was like, wow.
It's always like schizophrenic homeless people. Whenever you see these articles, like, I'm sorry, that's just like the red pill. It's never like high-powered like banker. Like it's AI psychosis. It's like it's always people that you're like, yeah, they probably would have been talking to themselves anyway. So at least they get a robot to talk to. It's like, dude, a lot of people should just take the buyout when AI comes along. It's like you aren't going to be doing much better anyway. You'll probably be robbing places.
When
So at
they
least
release
crime's going down.
GTA 7 on the neural band, the economy is going to drop by 50% overnight. 50%. They're literally going to sell out of neural bands. I'm sorry, you're not going to. Elon's going to be like, he's going to be an old man at the time. He's going to be like, you can't get it. I'm sorry, it's just too. You can't get it. And those who do are going to be like, yes, I'd like to do whatever I want with impunity in my digital false reality.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on if GTA 6 is actually good or not. Because I think if it sucks, that's going to be like the worst thing to ever happen to the gaming industry. Like,
GTA 7 will be AI generated.
People will completely lose faith in like the institution of video games. They already hate it.
I would estimate within 1 month you'll have a mod for the game where you can chat GPT one of your companions so that you can have an actual conversation. Or like a faux conversation with, the AI.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy and the Lord of the Rings video game will help, though, too. I'll throw that in there.
Check this out. This can be done for GTA 6 right now. This technology exists. Link GPT with the game so that all NPCs can have dynamic conversations with you.
Probably require a lot of data.
Nope. Are you kidding? I can type in a GPT right now for free. How's it going? And it'll say, it's going pretty good, I guess. What about you?
But don't most people play GTA Online? So like the rest of the world would have to be seeing that AI.
No.
Yeah, like on GTA.
You're playing
Online.
GTA single player. When you're playing multiplayer,
Single player, yeah, they should.
I don't think there's NPCs in multiplayer.
Yeah, like the cars driving around and stuff. So it's like it would have to load everyone at once. But yeah, like single player, why don't they do that?
Yeah.
You could store it.
They
locally.
did it in Skyrim years ago.
Yeah, they store it.
So
Locally.
you're playing GTA 6, and you can, with a headset on, walk up to a random person and say, "Hey, give me your money," and they'll go, "What? Who are you?" And you'll be like, "I'm threatening you to give me your money," and they'll have a dynamic conversation. It's there. We're there right now. You can do it.
I remember on 2K. You remember NBA 2K? And if you would like say anything that resembled a cuss word, you get a tech.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, like, crud, and they'd be like, "Dump the T," and I'm like, "What?"
Pims the Great
Suspended
says.
in one game.
Yeah.
Pims the Great says, Tim, are you saying Candace has gone full Ian? You can't go full Ian. Candace has been saying for a long time now that she has powers. And this is really funny because which were you saying you didn't believe it was real? Like, was that a contract or something?
Yeah, I thought like that was like sure.
I think she's in Doomsday, right?
Candace?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, she appears and she's like, no, Candace talks about having psychic visions a lot. She was talking about for a while now how Charlie could control electromagnetic fields. It's not an exaggeration. This is what she said. And she made reference in this clip that's going viral where she said that her and Charlie were in a special program as kids. Do you guys know about this Mandela effect? There's a bunch of viral posts on Instagram and TikTok that are telling people that they were experimented on as kids. And they're showing basic toys from the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, God.
And they're like the old headphones we used to have, like when we were kids.
Yeah.
And they were like maroon red, and you'd plug them in and listen to things. They're showing that, and then they're saying, like, remember this? They were testing you for psychic powers. And a lot of people, they're creating a community, they're creating a network. They're like, I remember this. They were testing us as kids. And it's just not.
Thought they were trying to see if we were deaf or not.
Right. But as a kid, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So now Candace did this, like, this is the game she's playing. There are a lot of people that love the Mandela effect stuff, and you're going to get a lot of viewership by saying that the earth is flat or that you got psychic powers or whatever, you know?
It used to be like, oh, my underwear label used to look different. Now it's like, RFK stole my foreskin.
Yeah.
Candace told me.
My underwear looks different.
Yeah, it went from the Fruit of the Loom
now it's like
cornucopia to
Yeah, it's like I
that
should
length.
murder my parents. I don't know. I think they were testing on me.
It is funny because, like, the first Mandela effect was fairly mundane. It was like, I could have sworn the label on my underwear looked different.
Wasn't it the Berenstein Bears?
Was it an E or an A?
Yeah.
And now it's literally like, remember that program where the government agents would come and run experiments on you to see if you had psychic powers?
And you're like, I do. Yeah.
I do remember that.
I'm freaking magic.
Yeah, maybe like 30% of Americans have schizophrenia now. It's probably possible.
It's crazy. It's crazy how so many people can listen to that stuff and then hear Candace say, "Charlie came to me," and they still take her serious.
Maybe because it's the non-schizophrenic people listening. Because the schizophrenic people are why podcasting's dying. Because they're already having a podcast in their head at all times. They're like, "Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, that's a good point too." Yeah.
Constantly being hollered at.
They disagree.
All right. The RH Heretic says, first, I'm going to chastise you for your, I bet Tip won't read this. He says, what's happening between the Democrats and the DSA is almost a play-by-play what happened during the Bolsheviks and Mensheviks, with the Bolsheviks being an extreme minority. Please familiar yourself and audience with it. Indeed. That would be a good conversation. Yeah, so I recommend you guys check out the Tim Pool Show. We've got the last interview we did was absolutely fantastic with Julie Mastrini of allsides.com. We could have gone on for probably 4 or 5 hours talking about media bias. And it's really interesting because she's trying to be very professional. All Sides tracks the bias of various organizations. The problem so this conversation comes to fruition because I canceled my membership. I was a long-standing, high-tier member of allsides.com, and I canceled because a variety of reasons. The simplest way to put it is that Lincoln Project is centrist and Tim Pool is right-leaning. And I said, if you were to say, like, on a tribal basis, Tim Pool is right-leaning, I'd say, yeah, I guess. Like, there's two tribes. There's the left tribe and the right tribe. What is it? Doesn't mean anything politically because Jimmy Dore is arguably in the right tribe. He's a socialist, so. But then when you put Lincoln Project as center, I'm like, yeah, those are left. They're advocating for Democrats to win. They're in the left tribe. If you're going by policy positions, the Lincoln Project is right-wing, and I'm left-wing. Or lean left. But they're not. So I said, what does center even mean? And we had a great discussion about it, where center for all sides means they don't present bias in the way they deliver news. But then the question I brought up is like, if a politician lies, provably, should I say he lied in the article, or should I say he said thing? And she's like, well, I mean, it's gonna, if you say he's lying, you're implying intent. And it's like, yeah, but what if we know he lied? And then her argument was, that's what the liberals say about Trump. And I'm like, and they're lying. Welcome to media bias. Trump, when Trump did not say Nazis were fine people, the media lied. Their attitude is to lie and claim Trump called Nazis fine people, but that's not true. So should I just say the media claimed this thing about Trump and not report it because they do evil things? It's a really fascinating two hour plus long conversation. I recommend you check it out. Don't forget to also smash that like button. We're going to the uncensored portion of the show. Wow. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Good sir, would you want to shout anything out?
You can just follow me on social media. I'm on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Johnny Root _ JONNYROOT _
Good stuff. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Real Tate Brown. Thank you, John. You're the GOAT. And I think we'll get into some WNBA news in the after show. I know Phil's like dude, it's relax. We'll finally talk about
what you're hoping for.
The only thing I ever want to talk about.
I am Phil the Remains on Twix. You can check me out. You can follow my Patreon. Most of the stuff I put up there is free. It's patreon.com/Phil the Remains. You can check out the band All That Remains at Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime. Carter.
I'm Carter Banks. You can follow me at Carter Banks everywhere, at Carter Banks Official everywhere else. Check out our label at Trash House Records on YouTube. Still have a somewhat new song up there /video, so check it out. But yeah, let's get into the after show.
We'll see you all over at rumble.com/Timcast IRL right now for the uncensored show. Thanks for hanging out.